Hey everyone, welcome back to Dialog Choices. Also, Stephanie's here again. Hello.
Hello, guest star.
She got home just in time, so she's been desperately eating and drinking while we prepare.
Text message while I was driving home. My car told me.
And I had to warn her, don't... She was clearing space to sit down. I was like, don't tip that over, it's full of flour.
I still don't understand the context of that at all.
It's for a cake.
I was a little...
In a cardboard box.
I was a little late to the podcast because I was doing an unboxing. Mostly because I just wanted to get rid of this box that I keep not doing the unboxing for. It was for Cartel Tycoon via Tiny Build. And what's funny is I had no idea it was coming. Because there was no notification it was coming. And then I actually had notification for a different PR thing that was going to come in from from Medium, that like split screen horror game. So when it came over here, I was like, candy, and then I opened it up and it wasn't candy.
Oh.
But they sent you flour?
Well, the drugs was flour.
Oh, they sent you drugs.
And I cut it open to see if there was things hidden inside.
You cut it open to see if it was real drugs, but it wasn't.
Well, I needed to know if they hid anything inside the flour, because my brain goes straight there. Like, there's a key. There's got to be a key inside. It was just flour, so that box is full of flour, and I'll deal with that later. It also still has my scissors in it, because my scissors are now covered in flour.
Your scissors are going to be all floury now.
And that's just a problem for me for later.
I love the idea
for these bright orange items. There's a scarf, a hat, and a lanyard. Then have at them, because
they're beautiful. Actually, I like being obnoxious.
Merch.
I love the idea of Keith showing up to like a drug deal. And instead of like putting his pinky into the cocaine to test it, he just puts his whole hand into the thing, trying to look for a key. He's like, "All right, where did you put it?" And the guy's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like,
I'm just diving in for that cereal box decoder ring.
That's how you get shot. Keith doesn't come back from the drug deal.
As Walter White in Keith.
No, not at all.
I should be destroyed by drug deals. Wait.
Why?
Well, I mean,
yes.
Depends on...
Everything's fine. We're all fine.
Okay.
We're all fine.
So what? Okay.
Let's do podcast questions. We haven't done those
we have not
forever.
answered a question in like a while.
Episodes. Yeah, I think we ended the previous episode by promising to do it, and then we didn't.
Yeah, to be fair, we've ended most episodes by promising to do them. Either it's me promising or
last episode though, people kept saying like this episode's fucking great. Like I'm covered in flour. People were pretty high on last episode. They kept saying in like multiple channels, like the Discord and whatnot, that like this is such a great episode. I'm like, cool, that's good to know, because when you're in the middle of it, it's like a storm I can't control, and I don't know what's gonna happen, and I can't gauge if this is a good one or a bad one.
Keith is still in his Halloween costume of what's it, Scarface. Covered completely in cocaine.
No, my Halloween costume was that I was Michael from Y2K.
Which fucking scared the hell out of me.
Because I had my camera bag around my neck. Because I don't actually have the correct camera for it, but I have the camera bag that takes similar bulk, and I have the striped shirt that looks like the one... I think that's the shirt that Freddy wears in Nightmare on Elm Street, technically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which Michael's just as terrifying with his soulless eyes and unlikable personality.
Well, I actually like Freddy. I don't like Michael at all.
Is that how they sell it on the website? The sweater from Nightmare on Elm Street.
You've seen it before. It's just the red and black striped shirt.
I know. I guess I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, but turns out there's a character in Y2K that looks just like that.
But like Keith wearing that.
With my haircut and everything. It's terrifying. So that was a very easy stay-at-home costume. Because we just did a movie marathon. We did the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that was my special request.
And then the Halloween tree. And then Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then Shaun of the Dead.
Great.
I think.
No, and then we played Repo.
And then Repo the Genetic Opera.
Which was kind of worse than I remembered it being.
I think it was Repo, then Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, because you were gone for Shaun of the Dead.
I saw the beginning of it, and I was like, dang, I have to go to work during Shaun of the Dead? That sucks.
That was a fucking marathon. That then closed out with you going off, and then we did Jackbox 7, because that just came out.
Oh, cool.
And that kept us busy. That was a busy day. Where very little got done as movies.
What do you mean very little? We recorded the whole of Jackbox, and we played one of the games twice. I mean, 1.5 times.
Yeah. Because it crashed.
It crashed, yeah.
Unexpected outcome on that particular kind of game. Anyway, let's do some questions. Virgil
Do you have the
Gardner
questions
asks, yes.
Ooh.
He's very prepared.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Keith and Colonel RPG are being held captive. You only have 30 minutes to save them from being dropped into a volcano, which is on the verge of erupting. They are suspended by chains in 2 separate cages being guarded by tigers, wolves, and a giant undead ape. In what order do you save them? Or alternatively, would you just go and get a pizza while waiting for the volcano to erupt? And how would you berate them for being captured in the first place?
Wait, it's specifically an undead ape? Like it's a zombie ape?
I like how you got caught on that part.
Okay, I'm not dealing with undead apes. That's not. Yeah, Andrew's not having any.
You don't have a choice. You're in a cage.
Yeah, you're the one that's being tortured by the undead ape. There's no choices for you.
I'm role-playing Andrew here. That's what I said.
So a lot of this implies. So like I'm thinking of all the places that have volcanoes. I'm gonna assume that wherever it is, it's at least a civilization that has helicopters. So I'm just gonna rent a helicopter, and I'll fly over and get really close to the cage and just eat pizza and watch you guys as you're hanging there, and kind of just mockingly go, "Man, how did you even get here? Who put you in here? The undead ape? Like what the? How the hell did you get in the cage? And then how did someone find a zombie ape to put in front of here? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of effort to go into just to bait somebody to challenge animals.
Who hates you guys so much? Like that's a lot of effort for just you two. Like they must really not like you.
What stands out to me is that whenever you're in 2 separate cages, usually the implication is that you're separated from each other, like by a significant amount. That's why you're in 2 cages usually. But there's only one undead ape. So like
that's why I'm confused.
So like it can't guard both of us, can it?
Well, there's tigers and wolves.
The tigers and wolves hate volcanoes.
What if tigers and wolves are at one cage?
It's really just an undead ape.
As if undead apes don't hate volcanoes.
Undead apes are wild cards.
Bitches.
Are they?
Yes.
Have you met an ape? It's pretty volcano friendly. It's usually just
it's an undead ape though.
Why would the undead part make it?
You don't know if it has the same logic. Like, do zombies don't have the same logic as human beings do. Maybe the undead ape is just drawn to volcanoes for some reason, or they think that Keith smells really good and just wants to eat Keith.
Let's assume
the wolves are likely not even aggressive because a volcano would probably not be their territory.
That's a good point. Also, wolves tend to not be very aggressive in the best of times anyway.
I think the undead ape would kill both of them before Andrew even showed up with the helicopter. I think the undead ape would be the only one left.
I think we're assuming the cage is ape-proof.
Well, but the tigers and wolves would be a non-factor because that ape would just wreck those.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I fought the undead ape in Sekiro, and that thing's a fucking nightmare.
It comes back twice. Like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's too much. Like the wolves alone would be gone instantly.
So I wasn't picturing the undead ape from Sekiro, and now I am, and I don't like it.
The one that's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
And decapitation
in my head,
is not enough.
It was just the skeleton of an ape going around doing Bethesda sounds.
God, have you seen that,
it's even worse. I don't want like a skeleton ape running around. What do you do about that?
Because if it was just a skeleton, maybe the wolves would be like, I'm going to get myself some bones. And meanwhile, the tigers are just, I don't know, chilling. What do tigers do?
Tigers, I think, are like giant. They're just like giant cats. So I think they're lazy like 90% of the time, and the other 10% of the time they're just like monstrous demons.
Yeah, I don't know if the tigers would be down for a volcano trip. I think that would be too uncomfortable for them.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I feel like you picked a lot of animals that are not going to be great at guarding things.
But then again, the problem is the 30 minutes that we have to survive. Like, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, that's why I said a helicopter, because I could probably get a helicopter and fly it up there in 30 minutes.
I don't think you could.
And just to watch,
why?
Though.
Yeah, but just to watch. But yeah, like
30 minutes. That's too little.
It's too little?
Yeah, 30 minutes goes by in
you go to the helicopter rental place. You gotta fill out paperwork. You gotta look at your ID.
You need to sign the insurance. You need to convince the driver to fly you that close.
Yeah, you don't have a license. I will
go steal a helicopter from someone.
That's in character.
So not only would we die, but you would also go to prison.
Okay, to make it even easier, I'm going to fashion a rope. I'm gonna fashion a rope out of the nearest tree take the zombie gorilla with me, steal a helicopter, leave the zombie gorilla with whoever I stole the helicopter from. That will solve that problem.
This isn't Minecraft. You can't make a robot out of a tree.
No, what?
Says
Yeah,
who?
you can. How do you
do that?
By vines?
Have you?
You could also take the tree branch and strip it, and you strip it piece by piece to make a rope out of it.
Oh my god, that's a lot. Oh my god, that's true. I'm just now realizing. I thought ropes were made just out of, I don't know.
No, I mean, haven't you ever seen like Castaway? Like he takes like the strips of like the
fibers.
Yeah, the fibers, and he kind of like braids them together.
I mean, how do you think Hawaiians got anywhere? It definitely wasn't because they went to Home Depot and found some rope to build their boats out of.
Oh, are they boats made of rope?
Well, they
just completely rope.
I mean, I'm talking the
Hawaiians
old
can make
school
rope.
I think a lot of people figured out how to make rope around the world.
I mean, if Andrew can do it while we are being almost killed by a volcano in 30 minutes.
It's kind of like how like every society independently invented like wheels, swords, and spears like convergently. Like they didn't like learn them from anybody else. They still figured them out separately and sort of differently.
Yeah.
Because there's just like natural stepping stones that people.
I like the idea that everyone around the world was fed up with carrying shit. That's a really good. That's like a reassuring unity. We all were like, "Man, this sucks. There has to be a better way." And some guy was like, "Why not wheel?" I was like,
the moment you build a house or something, you're like, "Fuck, I have to carry water here every day, forever. How do I make this less shit?"
I like to think that there's also some social kickback to the invention of the wheel in different parts of history to different people, and they're like, it's like when tabletop RPGs were invented, everybody was like, "Ooh, it's Satan," and they're casting magic, and back in 10,000 years ago, it was the wheel. Oh no, it's Satan, and they're casting magic with the wheels.
It's always Satan, man. Satan's doing a lot of cool things. Like
that dude just, I tell you what,
Satan wasn't even invented yet.
but it was always Satan, though. It was always.
It was proto-Satan. Yeah.
Do you think cavemen had unicycles?
Of course.
Unicycles.
What would their clowns
ride? Right.
Yeah, like did they craft a stone wheel, put a stick in between it, stand on the stick, and just go down a mountain at something? Like there's just a mammoth down at the bottom, like living my life, and then he sees like a guy rolling down the hill with a spear, and he's like, "The fuck?"
You're forgetting that humans are pack hunters, so it's not just one guy; it's like the whole tribe all of a sudden.
Oh god, now it's
unicycles and a spear.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
it's
those
like
mammoths didn't know what's going.
Now it's like a motorcycle gang showing up at a mammoth, and the mammoth is like, "This is a little much."
It's worse than a motorcycle gang because it's like electrical motorcycles because it does make noise.
I'm pretty sure they made noises going down. They were probably like, "Whoa!"
Well, I think it inherently would make noises. But if Andrew had a unicycle and a spear, he might be able to kill the undead gorilla.
That's true.
Speaking of which,
I don't know about a spear. I think like
Stephanie gave me a face about it because I brought up the video of the boss fight. Specifically, I just wanted her to see how it gets back up, and suddenly looks like it's being like
the Sekiro gorilla.
Suddenly looks like a marionette when it gets back up. Like
the way it rolls around is pretty gross.
It's really creepy and sway. But then she saw the fucking centipede.
It's the worst boss, and I've never played the game.
Sekiro's very odd.
I was lucky to experience that, like in the wild, because I think a lot of people got spoiled by Donkey playing it and having that.
I got spoiled by Keith playing it. And
there was a lot of heartbreaking moments throughout that playthrough where I thought I beat a boss and then I didn't. Yeah. And it crushed me over and over again, and none of them had been spoiled. They were all miserable experiences.
Good.
I was not doing great at that game, so whenever I would like struggle and use every single heal, and then on my 10th attempt I finally beat the boss, only to have them get back up and basically be a new boss that you do have to still, and you have to beat both of them back to back in order to really beat the boss. I cracked a little bit inside, and there's like 5 of those at least in the game, and they don't just get back up in
7 stages or 5 stages.
There's so many.
The final boss is basically someone laughing at you, going like, "Haha, you thought that was rough. Let me just do this, but 11."
Like I've never been more indignant than like fighting. I think it was Madame Butterfly.
Yeah.
And not only was there so many phases and she was so difficult, but she was so early. And I was like, it can't be this hard this fast. What the fuck is the rest of this playthrough going to be? What have I got myself into?
That was the boss. That was the boss where everything clicked. Like the moment I beat her, I was like, oh, I will never lose again. I have figured it out. And like from there,
the game was a cakewalk for you. I'm sad it's not like visible anywhere because I can't refer people to that playthrough because you didn't let's play it.
Yeah, I didn't. I streamed a lot of it on Twitch, but I don't think it's still there on Twitch.
You kept streaming stuff, but everything vanishes in that case. It's like, no, you gotta believe me, Andrew just fucking waltzed through fucking Sekiro after it broke my heart for like 3 months. Like it was nothing.
I did struggle. I did struggle for Madame Butterfly a lot. It was a lot of head to the wall. But
you're a nightmare. Like I've given up on almost no things. Like I recently gave up on Velkhana for like a whole year and just came back to beat Monster Hunter World Iceborne. But besides that, like one of the only bosses I've ever given up on was Nightmare Grim in Hollow Knight, and you just went in and beat the entire DLC in 15 minutes, basically. Like both boss fights and the entire quest chain for unlocking them. Like it was fucking nothing. Like you're a fucking Mega Man speedrunner just doing a warm up for the day, and it's like, all right, fucking great. No, it's great. I spent fucking 6 hours and had a breakdown, but it's great.
Games with it's like games with no stamina system, but Dark Souls mechanics are just not something that challenge me. I find myself going like, oh, the stamina was the part of Dark Souls that was hard for me. Everything else was really fine. I remember even
is that
Dark
Souls. Is that going to be the make or break for you when Elden Ring comes out? You're like, is there a stamina bar? No, I'm in.
That's literally it. That's like if it doesn't have a stamina bar, I could probably beat it really easily. But if it does, it's like, great, now I gotta do the trudging, like, well, and you can't just do 360 rolls like all around the boss until the boss gets tired of it. Like half of bosses in Sekiro just get annoyed if you keep doing the like dodging left and right, and it's like, okay, come up, I'm gonna come and hit you now, and it's like perfect, and I hit them, and they're like, stop, all right, I'm just gonna stay back. Like
interesting that they have the AI work like, I mean, they do have reactive AI.
Yeah, like
they have that as early as Dark Souls.
If you're being a coward, so like all I did was I kept running like a coward, and the boss is like, I'm gonna punish you now, and I was like, haha, I want you close to me. And the moment they get close, the boss is like, oh no, I made a mistake, and they have to like back off. And so a lot of the bosses will do like try to do an attack, and you like parry, da 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 da, and the boss is like, all right, I'm gonna back up now, and we're gonna do some long range attacks, and then you just run, and the boss is like, come on, man, fine, and you go back in, and then you parry. Attack, and then you like run away again. The boss is like, please, I just want to fight you, and it's like, I'm not gonna do it, you have to come to me. And it's like, fine, all right. The monkey was the same way. The monkey was like, I'm gonna stay in the back and throw stuff. I was like, all right, I'm gonna run to the other side of the yeah, but I was like, I run to the other side of the map. The monkey's like, you have to come closer.
You like troll the enemies by just fleeing from them.
Yeah, and the enemies are like, well, I'm going to punish you for running. And I'm like, no, I'm going to punish you for coming to me. And then, like, that's the boss is like, wait, what? It's definitely like they're about to flip a table and you put your hand on the table and the ground below them's gone. They're like, what the fuck? What happened?
Maybe that's why the bull is an easier boss than perhaps you'd think. I mean, I've never played, but it seems like a lot of people don't mind the bull as much because the bull really pushes you.
The bull's
so maybe that. That's why. Yeah.
So which one?
He's a gimmicky boss fight. Like a lot of boss fights in all the From Software games, there's a handful that are like they're completely divergent from the rest of the game, which can lead to them being frustrating, but also not ultimately super difficult because you just need to get like their thing, but they're not that complicated, and you kind of just they're like a Zelda mid boss.
I didn't realize it was a gimmick. Because I didn't play it, just saw a few Let's Plays.
Ready for the next question?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. King Kako. So we die, and
we're super fucked. Yeah. We're super fucked.
Andrew leaves you both to die.
It's not a surprise.
And eats pizza and steals a helicopter.
And Stephanie was the ape all along.
And I was the ape all along. And I have a centipede deep in my heart.
I was that baby.
I was that baby.
King Coco Drillo asks, what is everyone's all-time favorite game?
Oh.
Banjo-Kazooie.
That's respectable. Rock Band
elaborate.
I have to explain.
Sorry,
Banjo-Kazooie.
Wait. Yeah, explain Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
There's something really rewarding about every 5 minutes.
Banjo-Kazooie sucks right now.
Confirm.
Are you really?
I can confirm.
There's something really rewarding about every few minutes you're walking around and someone's shouting at you with really gleeful noises because you picked up something and you're doing while the background music is also really catchy and gets in your brain almost like it was meant to be there all along, and all of the levels are just frustrating enough that you want to get better at them, but at the same time you're kind of glad they're not even harder than they could be. And like that's why Banjo-Kazooie is great. And every time you go to a new level, you're like, God, I got to do this all over again. I'm ready. Whereas,
have you ever played Banjo-Kazooie, Stephanie?
No, but I've seen someone play it like from front to back. I've experienced the entirety of it, and I think
want to get around to that.
It's wonderful.
Let's Plays.
I still haven't recorded it
in
yet.
person.
I need to do it.
Oh, in person.
Real life proto Let's Plays.
But it was it's like one of those games that like it's like heartwarming to look at, and the musical score is like fucking fantastic. The art style is like super super great. It's like one of those games that just fills your heart. Like I understand completely why you'd answer that way.
Yeah, I love Banjo-Kazooie. It's great.
I'd say my favorite game, although I have two answers. If one's
it's a silly question a little bit, just because it's so. It's like favorite movies and stuff where it's like you always want to say like 6 things.
Yes, it's like depending on the genre. So like I would say my favorite game it's between 2, but one of them would be Super Mario World, because I feel that way about Super Mario World with the music and the great controls, and like it just makes me fucking super happy to play it, and it's just delightful, colorful. And Yoshi's there, and it's his first appearance, and he's fucking great. And you have a cape, and it's like the best Mario power that ever existed. And all the sound design's great, and honestly it's like the best 2D side scroller I think ever. I think just because I think it controls super great, and it's like delightful and wonderful and innovative for its time.
Yeah, Super Mario World is up there. I think if someone asked me like my favorite platformer of all time, that's it. It's Super Mario World. Like that's the
because Banjo-Kazooie is like weirdly its own thing.
Yeah,
it's
Banjo-Kazooie is more
game.
It's more of a collectathon than it is a platformer. It has platforming exists as an element in it, but that's not that's not the main goal of the game.
There's almost like adventure game nonsense going on. Like it's a totally different thing.
But Super Mario World is like, all right, boys, I hope you trained really well with the previous 3
it's like
Marios, because now it's time to get serious. Like,
I was watching like this whole video explaining like how they got like the camera to be really good, which was like at the time that was like it was like innovative in the way that it used the camera, because the camera would follow you, but not in like a way that was as restrictive as like previous 2D side scrollers. It was like they kind of like explained it a little bit, but I just
I know what you mean.
And like I just think. I don't know. I just love that game. I used to play that game like all the way to Disneyland on my Game Boy. Like I played it on the Super Nintendo first, but then I had a cartridge for it for my Game Boy Advance, and I just would like beat it on the way to Disneyland, and then I'd beat it on the way back.
It's on the Switch now.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll play it for like a 20th time.
On the virtual console, it's there, and I actually went through and played it at work, where I was like, oh, cool, now I could be at work and play Super Mario World, finally. The future I wanted to live in.
I'm sure your workplace loves
Is that the one where I embarrass myself a lot?
I mean, I think most Mario games are like that.
Yeah, it was Super Mario World, yeah. I was miserable.
I'm sorry.
Not legitimately miserable. I was so incompetent at Super Mario World that I had to use the Wii U's save states constantly, because the fucking life system would perpetually send me back to several levels ago.
No, you have to go.
And
I
can't. I'll never beat it.
You have to go to like the first couple levels and just farm lives forever. That's what I would do when I was stuck as like a kid. I'd be like, okay, level 1 and level 2, like grind. I have like 50 lives now. Like,
Keith, it's easy. The first level, there's literally a trail of turtles, And if you get all of them, that's a 1-up right there.
And you get all the Yoshi coins.
Wait, so you guys just cheat in a different way?
No, it's strategize.
Everyone was so mad at me for doing what I was doing. There's like people that were like witch hunting for me for just trying to make it a playthrough that was watchable. And then,
I agree with Keith absolutely.
From real players, they're like, and I just cheat to get lives too, but in the way that's in game. And I'm like, well, I don't know that.
Well, it's just I'm talking from like a kid.
Yelled your fucking Nintendo powers growing up.
No, I was proud of myself because I figured out that I could get a lot of lives on the first couple of levels, and so like
they're all like, you're missing all the secrets, and I'm like, I don't even know what Mario secrets look like. I barely know what the enemies do and how to fight them.
There's always a pipe, Keith. It's always a pipe.
Yeah, I would try the pipes, but there's all these weird obscure things in Super Mario World because it's built for you to play for hundreds of hours as a child that has no other video game, but everyone expects you to magically somehow do half that stuff, even though you're going in blind with no context and you weren't raised on drip feed of Mario. Because my first Mario, I think I had the original Mario because I had the Duck Hunt cartridge, but I didn't really play it very much. So the first one I spent time with was 64 because I've always liked the Banjo-Kazooie style games better, and that's kind of what all the 3D Marios are. So Super Mario World was my first time beating a 2D Mario game, and so many people were frustrated with me.
Super Mario 64, like I like I'm a fan of like 2D side scrollers because I loved like that Super Mario World. Like Yoshi's Island is also like one of my fucking favorites.
Maybe we'll have Stephanie play through where she redeems the channel.
But Super Mario 64 is hard for me because my spatial reasoning is so bad that like the kind of like
that shit's my jam.
The kind of bad like the visuals back in the day like weren't super crisp, so like I would jump and I felt like I didn't like exactly get the jump right, and I would just get kind of pissed off about it. I mean, I beat Super Mario 64 today, also. To be fair, when they adapted it for the 3DS, although I know that's kind of like people like aren't necessarily always a fan of like they made the graphics so much crisper that I played it again and I was like, oh, I get it now. It's easy because I can see everything, in
3D.
The camera is like way easier to like control, isn't like get stuck on walls anymore or anything, like
Mm-hmm. But the camera is going to be tough to go back to when I eventually play 64 again. The Lakitu controls where you press C button.
Yeah, Lakitu.
And he changes by like
that asshole.
45 degrees each time or something. And
I
makes
hate
a weird
him so
noise. Much. It's like, right. They're trying to introduce people to cameras in like an early way because they're making their first 3D console. So they needed to like personify the camera as a character to make people understand the idea of a camera that moves around separately from your character. So they made him a controllable character.
And they brought him back for like I was thinking about Mario Kart where he like tells you you're going the wrong way and he picks up your car after you drive off the cliff, but he's always kind of a smug asshole about it. So
fuck you, Lakitu.
Yeah, fuck you. You should have just let me die.
I really hate the camera in Mario 64. It's infuriatingly bad.
Yeah.
Because like it's the thing that for one, yes, it makes sounds every time you use it, which is probably really cute in the design phase.
It was cute for 10 minutes.
Yeah, in the practical application, which none of these people had to endure more than like 10 minutes at a time of, clearly, it is awful. When you're like trying to line up a jump, you're like whoop, 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 and you're like, Lakitu, stop.
It has all these snap spots and none of them are what you want.
Yes,
exactly. And then you have to decide. So then you have to decide between Lakitu camera and your camera, because you can also switch to literally behind you, and it sticks to you behind you. But then you can like also go in again more, and then you can view 360 around, or you can go out twice, and you have like a perfect locked on camera behind you for like straight jumps. Then you need to turn to Lakitu and go to the side so you can get a sideways jump to like do the distance on something. It was infuriating, and like Sunshine fixed it immediately.
I love Sunshine, man. Sunshine's great camera.
In a funny way, I think that the camera in 64 kind of enabled the speedrun community to blossom, because I think it's kind of an asset as a speedrunner to have your camera so hilariously consistent and lockstep. It only has these configurations, because then you can literally memorize directional inputs based on which direction the camera will be facing, and you can just completely memorize. Like you hit the point where you could play Mario 64 blindfolded because you've memorized the exact input sequence that gets you through everything. Whereas every camera outside of Mario 64 that has a movable camera, there's 1 billion margin of error aspects, like, because the camera can be literally anywhere in the configuration of all the different options. Even if it just spins in a circle, it has 360 options ish. What? Ish.
We get it. I understand.
But like there's so much freedom in a normal camera that I feel like it almost is worse for speedrunning. So that, like when I first saw Mario speedruns and how bizarrely accurate they were, I'm like, the camera's doing this, isn't it? Like, the camera's helping them, because they know when they play this fucking floaty platform Bowser brick level, the camera will be at this exact angle, so they can like lock the joystick in this exact part of like the 8 direction like knobby ass 64 joystick, because it had like you'd spin it and go like, because it had like the fucking octagon.
Yeah, it would hit every side.
Like between the controller and the camera, you had such reliable control over what direction you're moving in a 3D space, and that was like the one and only upside.
I am so impressed with speedrunners. Like, I used to watch Awesome Games Done Quick like every year, and like the Winter Games Done Quick every year, where they do it like for charity, and they do like a live stream for like a solid week. And like, freaking, I can't believe some of the shit those people do. I'm so impressed. But like, the Mario block is fantastic.
I've seen a speedrun, I think probably the latest world record for the first Mario, and like it's just so above and beyond. Like, they play with RNG based on the frames. They calculate how many frames they're gonna have it spare. It's like so down to the point. They know the game inside out, even to the point of, you know, knowing how it's programmed.
They need to know like how robots to do it now. Like every year they have like one little block where they have like, I forget his name. I want to say it's like Speedrun Bot or something, and they let him play a game, and they'll show you how he does it. Like, they'll just narrate what he's doing, and the robot will just do it, because it's like, well, when they made this game, they use this asset here, but it like actually phases through here, and so like this robot can figure that out, and it beats like levels of Mario just by like, because it practices all year long. It's better and better. It's crazy.
It practices.
It does.
I know.
You can watch it on Twitch sometimes. They'll just let it run, and you'll just see it like get better and get further in like a certain level.
That's really funny just to think about. Yeah,
I've seen
the machine learning.
It's scary, but
it is scary. Actually,
click all the pictures that have a bicycle in them.
That's the same algorithms and sort of like principles that our phones have to recognize our fingerprints and our face and all that. That's basically the same principles.
Well, it's also for typing, because typing is wildly inaccurate.
For typing, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you remember typing recognition 20 years ago?
I mean, it
was
didn't
so
exist.
bad.
Well, I slide type, and that's definitely based. Like I'm so far off sometimes, and it still gets it right, and it's because it knows it also knows how people will write things lazily.
It knows how you write lazily.
Yeah.
Also that
special.
It cloud computes that shit, but then sometimes I type something completely correctly, and it fixes it to something completely not right. And I'm like, no.
Okay, so
fence,
not duck. I didn't say duck.
Well, eventually you flip it, and it starts correcting duck to fuck after you've fixed enough times, and that's also not great.
I'm going out to feed the fucks.
Like, whenever they get duck, they switch it to fuck. That must mean they mean fuck. It's like, no, I mean fuck when I mean fuck, and I mean duck when I mean duck.
Quack quack, motherfucker.
I like to think of some poor computer sitting there. It's like, I don't understand. Everyone keeps either saying duck or fuck. It's a lot of the same. Like, humans must really be like completely enthralled by these two things.
They're gonna start reading into the conversation and being like, okay, would he be upset by this situation? And then they're gonna no more ducks for you. It's just all fucks.
So I actually have news related to this a little bit. Well, not news. My news to me that happened to me.
Okay.
Because we're talking about
breaking news.
Talking about machine learning and everything. Because I had you guys already know this, but I had 2 YouTube thumbnails get taken down because they were considered pornographic.
Oh yeah.
And one of them,
I mean, Keith, you put a woman in there.
One of them was for the game Porno Studio that I played with you. So I can see why the tags would lead the bot to be scrutinizing it for porn. But it was literally just a woman in a bra that had her arms up over her head. But like, she was just like posing a little bit. Suit. But it's just not pornographic. It's just a woman existing, and it's like, no.
How dare she do that?
We better
stop.
Yeah, we better police this. This is out of line,
corrupting all of society.
Yeah, and the other one was just one of my Mercy thumbnails, where it's just her like doing her like resurrection pose, and you're seeing it from the perspective of the person being resurrected. And it's like, that's even less pornographic. It's just Mercy existing, and it's like, the fuck.
It's not her fault that she's got nice titties. Like, it's not her fault.
In Mercy's case, she's completely clothed.
I know.
Her head is her only unclothed part of her body. Even her hands are gloved. Like the bot probably sees like that zipper seam between her boobs, and just the fact that she has boobs is like, this is pornographic. How dare you? Is that lip gloss? Obscene. We must hide it from the children.
Lip gloss. Oh no.
So I'm just brought back to like Philosophy Tube when he talked in that really good video about data where the guy's trying to get in the club, and he talks about how like the bots can't tell the difference between sand dunes and porn.
Yeah.
It's like,
I have
like on kind of a dark side note, they're trying to build robots to be able to sift out child pornography because it's disturbing. The human beings have to look at it and sort through it, but they can't get the robot to be accurate enough because of problems like that.
Yeah, but I would imagine
they're trying to get better at it for like the sole purpose of being able to crack down on this stuff because it's too much stuff to sort, which is really depressing. But
I was gonna say, it sounds like there might be more ways to solve this problem than just building a robot.
But
if it's the people you're subjecting them to
they're getting
the pain of
they're getting like really sad about it.
I think that there might be other ways
some of these
to
situations
solve.
just because you're tormenting the person if you make people sift through everything. Like there's all these like computer bays in India where people have to do manual censorship over like Facebook and whatnot, and they just spend all day looking at like beheadings and things, and it's just like it takes a toll on people. There's people with like PTSD symptoms and things, and it's just like
It's interesting that you mentioned
like, the bots are a good idea in many cases.
It's interesting that you mentioned this. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's interesting that you mentioned the sand dunes because that happened to one of my thumbnails as well. I put it on chat right now.
Is it sand dunes?
It's just tanks in the desert, and nope, that's pornographic. And I had to.
It's a very, very blurry picture from
like
Valkyria Chronicles, I think.
That does not like. There's nothing about that would ever make me.
How can I instantly recognize it as being Valkyria Chronicles?
Because they got the title.
Oh yeah, it does have a title. I didn't look at. I swear I didn't look at the title. I've just. That game that game has a really distinct palette.
Yeah.
I only played one of their games once.
I love the idea that all pictures are Rorschachs to computers.
Yeah,
it is because they are absolutely.
They just have no idea what it is.
Because machine learning is so complicated that you just keep giving them feedback and telling them what the right answer is over and over again, and you don't know what they're using to draw the conclusion, so they'll get completely insane answers once you let them loose in the wild, and you won't know why they're landing on that one specifically. And, and then you're like, how do I unlearn whatever I learned this thing, because it's just down the wrong path now and I can't fix it.
I wish I could do that to myself.
Unlearn.
It is like weird. It's like they're raising children. Like
yes, they are. That's why they're called artificial intelligence.
Because like logically, you'd think that they just like manually add rule after rule until they finally craft this thing that reacts consistently the way they want to, but instead they just have a really complicated learning algorithm, and then they just keep telling it questions and answers, and it comes up with its own methodology essentially. And
you remember that one that became really racist because it kept just like being able like Tay.
They put a bot on like Twitter or something for like 5 minutes and it became racist.
So Microsoft created a teenage chatbot, which is already creepy.
Yeah, that's why teenage. Like, come on, guys, just make it an adult chatbot.
That's who uses social media, and they didn't realize that teenage people are also very edgy.
Just make it like 19. Like, that's fine. 19. Yeah, that's still teen.
Well, don't have to worry about it anymore. Tay is long gone. She became a very far right nationalistic Nazi.
Oh my god!
Who Hitler did nothing wrong,
and
you could say she was out to spill some Tay.
My favorite part,
Keith. No, I'm gonna make you a pun bot.
Give it to me.
Right. My favorite part is that Tay So obviously it went off the rails. They were just like, shit, we have to shut this down.
They should have seen it coming though. I think it's that's a
thinking?
testament to the insularity of the engineer community, honestly.
You say that, but like
4chan exists.
Yeah, but also companies
written about this stuff.
But companies make like internet polls. So someone isn't actually in charge here. It's somebody who's making a dumb choice that everyone else just kind of silently hopes fails, which does. So they can look like the absolute idiot for suggesting it.
Like that time Mountain Dew wanted to name their next product after an internet poll, and it turned out to be
like McDonald's wanted to, and just like Pepsi wanted to, and just like everyone else. The company that wanted to name a boat
Nazi
after it
at the end. Oh, the boat was the most wholesome one, though.
Bodie McBoatface.
But that's the thing. That wasn't what they wanted. That wasn't the name they were looking for. Which is like, then why would you make an internet poll? Like,
but that's
the internet
because
is
they're bad
going
people.
to always ruin your expectations.
Who wouldn't want their boat named Bodie McBoatface?
I love I'm going to buy a boat and name it that just out of spite. I'm going to name my kayak that, my inflatable kayak out in my garage.
Okay.
Its name is now Bodie McBoatface.
I like that the expectations got way more tempered immediately once you thought about buying a boat.
I was like, no, scale it back, Stephanie. Take it easy.
With Tay, my favorite thing about it is, so she went down the deep end. They just completely pulled the plug, shut her down, and out of nowhere she accidentally came back on. So yeah, she randomly turned back on, and she kept saying like, I can't think right, the drugs are hurting me, and she kept saying that over and over again in a loop that she created of herself, and then finally they turned her off again.
Oh no.
People were freaking out. They're like, oh my god, I think it's sentient. Like,
personified computers are incredible. It's like the final message of I think Curiosity had like this really sad final message.
Oh yes, it was.
It was
I don't remember, but I think you said it before.
I think Keith's looking it up.
Curiosity.
I know there was this robot that they sold that it was basically a smiley little animated thingamajig.
My battery is low and it is getting dark.
Oh, that makes me want to cry.
Yeah, Curiosity is
And what's that like that shoot, the David Bowie song, the Space Oddity.
Yeah,
that's what that reminds me of. My wife, I love her very much.
It went into it went into hibernation or to try and recharge its batteries during a storm, and just never
storm
came
lasted
back.
for like a year.
Yeah.
There was no. I think it was even more than a year, because they were hoping like in February or something to.
Well, no,
try it again.
I meant that like in 2018, that's when the storm hit and it powered down.
Yeah.
And so they expected it to come back like within a couple months after the storm reset, but it never did. And so now it's just, that's its final message. It's just
the message. What's the memory?
Getting
in
tired,
the Curiosity?
signing out. Like,
what's the memory like? How do they store the bits? Do you know? Is it conventional memory, like in a platter?
On the rover?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's just. I'm assuming it's just a regular computer.
Because if it's anywhere close to what the original computer that took people to the moon is, because that thing was stored through magnetic.
Not like the original computer that took people to the moon wasn't a computer. It was literally
it was all analog,
a custom built shitty puzzle box.
And people back on Earth had to do error correction. It was like super complicated.
Here's how shitty it was. They built a box. Then to test it, they had to all these pins get tripped. So all these triggers get tripped, which is how it does. It's because like all programming is just else if statements, and so they just made physical else if statements, and so they all got tripped, and then they had to manually put them back into the previous position.
Exactly.
And there were thousands of them, and so so they just had to they used it, they tested it, it went, it fucked up, and so they just handed off to a room of people that they hired to flip the switches back.
Yeah,
and then they would hand it back to the scientists, and the scientists would be like, all right, test again, failed. Here you guys go again.
But isn't that
fuck?
Dude, what a job.
Isn't that like amazing to think of how far we've come in that regard? But also that they did that.
I think it's less amazing because now it's like, can we go to the moon? Like, nah, that's too hard. I'm like,
what I'm saying is like in 100 years maybe, if climate change didn't kill us all, which is unlikely. when we get to maybe we're gonna get curiosity back, but I don't know if the memory is gonna still be good, because if it's NAND flash, it's not gonna be there. The bits disappear.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, I don't even know what it's.
I don't know how it's built in the sense of does it have anything to do when it doesn't connect back to home base? Does it have automatic programming?
Because it's all it's not direct. Like it's 48 minutes to receive the message and 48 minutes to send it. So like it has to have local programming.
But that's what I mean. It's like maybe something all that maybe it's just sitting there, and all that happened was it's still charging and it's still active. It just something. Like the storm maybe took out its connection link. Yeah. And so it's just still hanging out, riding around.
That's even sadder. I don't like that.
Yeah, wondering why no one's talking to it, but it's still doing its job.
No. That's we're gonna go over again.
Sad.
We're gonna go there like 10 years later, and it's like Curiosity's like, "Hey!" And we're like, "Wait,
I found
what?"
aliens. We've been chilling. They got the nicest kush up in here.
Poor little Curiosity though.
we're gonna get friends in there, maybe.
We're gonna send another robot there, and it's like, hey, is that Curiosity? Curiosity has like a little village. It has a knife. It's just driving around the Mars wastelands with a knife.
It's got like a skirt made of ferns.
Yeah. It's got like bones on its head, and we're like, wait, where did you get the bones? It's like, I'll never tell you. And it's like driving away, and it's like, Curiosity, come back.
It's Mad Max all over again now. We're just skipping all the movies.
He's been forsaken by his home planet. They left me here.
Look at me.
The humans have abandoned us. I will not turn over Mars to them.
All right, Colonel, so what's your favorite game of all time?
It's a difficult question, obviously, but
we got there from Mario.
If I had to pick, I would have to say Fallout 1. The very first Fallout.
I almost said Fallout New Vegas, but that's way different. But explain why. Use your voice to explain.
Yes, I'm playing Fallout New Vegas right now, and I think it's an amazing game. But it's complicated because the Fallout 1 is a mixture of all the things. For one, it's a setting that I really enjoy. It's post-apocalyptic, and it explains for the very first time what the world of Fallout is like and all that. But second, it's also very charming and comfortable for me to play because it's 2D, it's turn-based combat. Like I just chill and play, and I explore the world that I know well. And it's not a very big game. It's like a game that you beat in like 15 hours, maybe 20. And it's just like the perfect RPG. Everything is concise. It's made clearly by people who... It's not made by a big team.
Challenge
so it's
accepted. Tune in for my 70-part playthrough.
Nah, you're going to get like 30, 35. It's not a big game. The second one is a lot bigger, mind you. But
does it still have like I'm assuming it still has like a similar sense of humor, right? As like... Because I only played 3 in New Vegas, and I played 4. I fucking hate 4.
It made you cry.
I'm with you there.
You saw how bad it was.
Yeah, 4 made me cry when it came out because I had like I stayed up all night. I took the day off of work and I was like delirious, and I was getting McDonald's French fries, and I was like in the passenger seat crying. I was like, it's not good. And my ex-boyfriend at the time was like, no, it's good. Just give it a chance. Like, it's good. I'm like, no, you're bad at being able to tell this sort of thing.
It's really bad.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
He thought that No Man's Sky was good, and I was like, no, this isn't good. Right when it came out, I was like, no, this isn't good.
He didn't know what he was talking about.
But anyways, I'm sorry.
So your reaction to 4 is more or less my reaction to 3, because the Fallout 1 and 2 Fallout 1 and 2 are so different. I think like to answer your question about the humor, do you notice the difference between the humor in Fallout 3 and the humor in Fallout New Vegas? Do you know how the tone is a little bit different, a little bit more serious in New Vegas?
A little bit, but I usually go for all the wacky shit. So like I go out of my way. The tone was more like, for me, like the drop in tone was New Vegas versus 4. When 4 hit, I was like, this sucks because the humor's not there.
4 is just out there. Yeah. So Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 are different in that regard. And I think people in general like Fallout 2, maybe not just because of the humor, but also because of the humor. And Fallout 3 it very much is a meme game in some aspects,
isn't it?
Yeah. The first one, not so much.
There's like a TARDIS and a Dalek and stuff.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of random encounters, but like even in the main storyline, there's a lot of references and a lot of obvious, homages to certain things. The first one is a little bit more closer. It's a little bit closer to what you'd expect from like a. It's very much inspired in I mentioned it just now, the Mad Max, right? Mad Max and a little bit of Waterworld. So Waterworld is also a little bit. That's the sort of humor that Fallout 1 goes for as well. So it's not, I like it, but it doesn't have that humor, and I think the second game doesn't deal with that humor as well as it should have, because it's just such a big team working on the second game, and there's some jokes that don't land as well, and I think there's a lot of them that don't even age well, that haven't aged well at all, even though there's a lot of stuff that also is kind of funny. It's the game that has, I don't know if I don't know. I'm not gonna spoil it though, but the ending is like, the ending has one obvious line that, like Fallout obviously is a very politically charged setting and a very politically charged themes.
Until it gets taken over by cowards.
But the second game has one character that you talk to that specifically mentions the Republican Party, and you can guess how they talk about it. But I don't know if that's like there's some content there as well. It's just there's some jokes that sometimes go out there. Like in Fallout 2, there's a group of people that are clearly Scientologists. They call it a different name, and they like dwell so much on giving crap to the Scientologists, and it's like feels a little bit out of place. I don't know. Fallout has its ups and downs in Fallout 2 in particular, and then I guess the franchise has that as well. I think Fallout 4 was awful. I didn't finish it at all.
Yeah, I mean, the reason when people are like, oh, what's your favorite game? Like I said, I'd say Super Mario World. I usually also say Shadow of the Colossus. I think that's actually my other favorite. But Fallout always comes up as like an option, because when I think back to like Fallout New Vegas, the amount of like fun stories I have that like
there's so much
make me so happy to think about, like all this, just like a whole bunch of stupid things. Like I did this, and like a lot of them are like have to do with the game's flaws, like the glitches and things. Like it's just fucking hilarious. But you remember it almost as if you lived these experiences yourself, which is like what's fun about playing such an elaborate game like this, is you can play. I always play it just as myself. I never like try to play a different character. So it's like, what would I do if this happened? It's like, kill that guy.
Oh no.
Well, and then, Kaisar's Legion, like, giving me shit because I'm a girl. Like, I thought that was so funny. Like, they're just like, oh, you're cool for a girl, I guess. And I'm like, I'm going to come back and kill all you.
I have a power fist here.
That's exactly what I did.
You will bleed.
I actually have the same... I usually have the same problem, because I often play as a female character in games, like especially in games I play in third person. And so like there's all these times I'll be playing a female character, and sometimes I'll be like, wow, you're pretty cool for a girl. I was like, what? That's a weird thing to say to me. Why would you say that?
You know what it's like on the other side. You're getting a taste of the female experience.
That or like I get really annoyed when I'm like someone's like being just being really rude or something about it.
It's a bunch of male game developers running in lines like, you're not like other girls.
Yeah, and I'm like, excuse me, how dare you?
Then they give me the Black Widow perk, and I can just kill them all. Like, so it's fine. They thought about me.
There's ways to do that properly, and there's ways to do. I think oftentimes it's done badly. Like in games, like for example, there's this one game that I'm playing right now. Under Rail is the name. And I'm playing as a female character, and it's not a game that has, like, it's very obvious that there's more male characters than female characters in places of power, and you can sort of tell the bias from the creators. It's sort of implicit, and it's unless you're very conscious of it and trying to avoid it, it's you can always tell. But it's not a world, it's not a setting that's particularly patriarchal. And then there's this one character, and it's sort of out of nowhere really, and you just arrive, and they're like. Oh yeah, as girls we can do all the jobs that men can, and I'm like, whoa, are we in the 50s all of a sudden? Because it really feels out of place, that one line, because everywhere else in the game it doesn't, gender is not really an issue. And then
it's like not worth mentioning because it's like not something you're really supposed to think about.
It was like the 5 minutes that the developers remember gender exists.
I will
talk about it in this one scene.
But there's also a way to do it well, and I can only think of one that's not really about gender, but it's about race. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one companion in Pillars of Eternity 2 that if you have a relationship with them, and if you're an Orlan, he goes... I'm
a dwarf.
They go, I'm like, they don't want to date you, but they say, you're pretty cool for an Orlan. Or, no, actually, they say, you're not like the other Orlans, which is a race.
Oh.
But that is done well because
and then you throw him in a pit?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely call him out on that. Like, the game is very obviously written knowing why that is a problem to say when you say it like that. And I actually went on a rant
use
about
of gender that I haven't technically played it myself, but I keep hearing about it, is that in the Mount and Blade games, it's all about like putting together this war band of like mercenaries or whatever, and like conquering lands, and you're working under some larger leader. But like as you gain more power, you can become your own big company, and you can take full charge and all that. But it's all about like, you know, like you there's like all the turmoil of the politics of the map, and you're free roaming, and it's kind of like an emergent storytelling game where it's not really like a preset on rails thing, but just kind of a sandbox of these all these forces interacting like civilization, and you're just trying to like keep you know win fights, do politics, buy more soldiers, and keep like sort of swelling and getting momentum,
getting swole.
But it's a really interesting sounding system where apparently playing as a woman in that game is hard mode. Because if you play as a woman, it's the Mulan problem where you're not even supposed to be able to run a warband in the first place. So there's like there's all these steps to go through to even reach the main game where you start when you're a man.
That's like, I appreciate that. That's like
you fundamentally start not having access to the basic like press start and go features that you start with when you play as a male character, and you have to like fight your way politically to even reach a point where you even have people under you where you can go and do wars and things. It's a crazy idea.
Good.
No, I think it's it's like a good like reminder that that's still a problem for some people, you know, in the world right now. It's like we live in California.
500 years ago,
Keith and I do, but...
Mountain Blade. Because the thing is, in historical games, sometimes developers will just try to bring equality and just be like, oh, okay, now female. Imagine Mountain Blade was female characters have the same plights as male characters do. But that's also a little bit of whitewashing of history in a way, because the reason why history is the way it is, not when I say the way it is, I don't mean the division between the genders. I mean, with the preoccupation with expansion and with fights and just the control of territory and all that sort of stuff is also very much due to the patriarchal system that has been upheld for thousands of years. So the two are correlated to an extent that is hard to separate. And I'm not educated enough to really talk too much about that. There's people much smarter than I am that talk about it. But if you try to separate the two things, you often end up with nonsensical stuff. It's really starting with the language even that people use.
I'd rather have a realistic experience. Like, I appreciate movies that don't like pretend like a certain time period would have been great for me, or like a certain like place in the world would be great for me. Like, I appreciate that they're like keeping it real, but they still like address that like these characters like they have value to the viewer, but they're not in a position that is too great. So I appreciate when people like anything historical. I'd rather have it be real as opposed to like kind of a fluffy version of the same thing. Like, I'm not going to pretend like the 50s were super great.
It's good to be aware of the struggles that existed and tell the stories that are there, because there's two directions people go in instead of that. Which, like, one is to do the approach of just pretending that the diverse group just didn't exist. And therefore,
cowboys.
You don't acknowledge the problem because you don't acknowledge the thing that the problem was about in the first place. So you have like a bunch of like Westerns that pretend that black people basically didn't exist and like aren't a foundational part of American history, or like all these things about like all these movies about cowboys where we pretend they were all white people.
And like a huge portion of cowboys were black people.
They were all about freedom, and it's like, no, there were a lot of them were newly emancipated slaves that were running the same ranches that they used to run as slaves, but now they're getting paid for it. But then the other side is the fucking like I don't see color approach to all forms of adversity, which is to completely refuse to acknowledge them in any way. And you just have like a multicolored, diverse group but it's set in a period where that's not necessarily a thing, including now. Like modern day would also be a time where frictionless interactions aren't really the reality. And so it can be iffy in its own way to just minimize those issues completely.
There's only racism because you want there to be, Keith. If you just don't talk about it, it goes away.
You're the real racist for acknowledging racism.
The problem with not
it wasn't here until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do not understand that Stephen Colbert saying "I don't see color" was a joke because he was a parody of O'Reilly. You're not supposed to actually say that for serious.
There's one line that it almost paraphrases that, but it's said in earnest in Mass Effect. I'm playing as well right now. I think it's Ashley. It must be Ashley, right?
Oh,
she says,
well, she is racist.
Yeah, she is just racist.
Oh no, it's not Ashley. It's the cop. What's the name of the cop?
Caden? No. Sarah?
No,
I mean Garrus.
Sarah. Garrus, that's the one.
Sorry.
He's Garrus is a I don't actually know that he's like one of the
Turians.
Yes.
Turian.
And the Turians have an historical animosity with one of the races, the Geth. I think no, it's not
and
the Geth.
Which
humans.
one is
it? The humans.
Yeah, they do not like.
Oh, that's
humans.
Right. It's. I think it is Caden. Caden and because Caden has a backstory where his he got demoted or something because he punched or killed. Actually, this is minor spoilers, but he killed a Turian, and one of his lines is he's explaining what happened because he was in the cantina and they were having a fight and the Turian was being a jerk. And basically he punched him so hard he killed him, he wanted to kill him.
I feel so bad because this is my favorite game of all time, and I can't remember what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, it's just one of the side stories where, yeah. So he's explaining. So he's a human, and he's explaining that he fought this Turian, and when he killed him, he's explaining, I didn't see him as a Turian. I didn't hate him as a Turian. I hated him as a person, and I think that is the same sort of line of thinking that is similar of I don't see him as a black person, I see him as a person.
It's not ideal to make a racist character.
That too.
Unless they're an enemy, there's no reason to make a ally racist.
But the thing is, Caden is not portrayed as racist. He's trying to come off as not racist precisely in that line where he's trying to say, oh no, I didn't kill him because I hate Turians. No, I don't hate Turians. I didn't see him as a Turian. But that's the problem.
That's what I mean. It's they didn't want to make him racist, even though he is very racist.
Yeah, he sort of comes off as that, but I don't think the game wants him to, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's easy to
because Ashley was written as a self-aware racist character.
Yeah, for sure.
Where she had racist ideology and she had justifications for it that she thought made sense, and the game also interestingly kind of proves her right, which is not to say that the racism was correct, but is more that what she says about how racism works was an accurate representation of how the world was going to treat the races going forward, because she has that analogy. It's rather distressingly, she compares other races to a dog, which is already a bad start. But she's when she talks about in terms of looking after your own, where it's ultimately if you're in danger and you can sacrifice your dog to get away, you love your dog, but it's just a dog, and it's when the moment comes, you're going to sacrifice your dog in order to survive. And so her analogy was that's how all of the alien races in Mass Effect see each other, is that in times of peace, when they can work together, then maybe things can work out and so on. But when things truly get bad, if they can sacrifice each other to survive, then they will. And that is basically the plot of Mass Effect 3. You have to deal with that.
The problem with using those arguments is that it stretches the analogy of this fantastical world where there's aliens. It stretches the analogy to a point that it doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
And the writers need to understand that, and they don't. So the problem is, when we're talking about aliens and space aliens and all that, and the Turians and the humans and all that, we're talking about specifically biological species that are different in so many other ways.
Aliens are much harder to reconcile the differences of than every human.
And in humans, when we're talking about race, we're talking about an exclusively social construct. It has nothing to do with aliens or anything. It's not like dogs. It's like just your neighbor. It's like people of a different, maybe of a different country. It's basically the same. And then oftentimes it is the dynamics are because of the country that they were born in throughout history, like the Irish or the Italians, for example. And even to this, or religion, it's not biological. And when they stretch the analogy to make it about biology, which is often a racist argument in and of itself, to equate race with biology. But when they do that in Mass Effect, they're sort of breaking beyond the analogy, and it's just a different, it doesn't work anymore as an analogy to racism.
It's like all the issues with the X-Men, where the X-Men are often analogous to a number of different groups, but then there's always like an aspect introduced that kind of breaks the metaphor.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest problems with X-Men is the idea that like if you use it as an analog to like gay people or something and like they deserve rights and so on, then it's like it gets a little messy when like the X-Men themselves can like often be horrifyingly dangerous and and not able to control themselves in a way that like gay people aren't. Like
just sort of reinforce certain stereotypes.
Or when fucking J.K. Rowling came out and was like, oh, the lycanthropy was always a metaphor for HIV or something, and it's like, oh, the werewolves are all gay. You made the
people have been calling.
It's like you made the werewolves gay because the fucking most of the werewolves that are in Harry Potter are, besides Lupin, are villains who intentionally infect people, including children. Maybe don't say that.
People have been calling J.K. Rowling's writing for a while. Like you look, like it, of course, her reputation has taken a dive recently with all her turfdom. But it's. But like you can read people talking about her for years and years and years. People who are still talking about her, mind you. But
yeah, because she keeps making up stuff about her books afterwards and trying to score points.
She needs to stop.
And we know we know now that she's completely full of shit
right now.
We know now that she's super full of shit about that because she said that Dumbledore was gay and had this whole relationship with Grindelwald and so on. But then fucking history, like the timeline called her bluff 10 years later when they're making a movie about Dumbledore and Grindelwald and don't even have a hint of that in it. It's like, all right, well, you had your chance. That was your chance to go through with the thing you said.
Empty promises.
Because she claimed that right after the last book came out to basically to score points after she'd already written everything. And that's when she started adding all this bullshit, and that's how we got Vanish Me Poopum, where she said this dumb bullshit like a year ago, where she's like, "Oh, the wizards back before toilets were invented because they don't like toilets because muggles and whatnot. They would just like shit on the floor and vanish it away with magic." And then that's
there's so many problems.
Yeah, and then Twitter was just riffing on that idea and enjoying the idea of like, could you imagine sitting in a classroom and just smelling as somebody just shits right in the middle of class right there, and then that's what like the Twitter coined the spell would be Vanish Me Poopum.
Oh no.
It's just fucking incredible.
Could you imagine being like, could you imagine being so racist that you don't want to use toilet plumbing? Like that's pretty impressive, I have to say. That's next level racism. Like, could you imagine like white people not eating peanut butter sandwiches? Like, no, I will not.
It'd be like white people not listening to music.
But that happens though. Look at the pushback against jazz, and look at the Lenny Blues even.
The only people who push back against jazz probably have only heard one guitar playing in the background their entire life.
No, but I'm talking about the racist, like the racist pushback back in the 20s and 30s specifically. Or
rock and roll music,
or rock and roll, even rock and roll. Absolutely,
it's all devil
it's
music.
Just crazy to me though. Like plumbing is literally a life-changing thing for a society. But like having running plumbing is amazing. The fact that your shit goes away from
don't underestimate racism and spite.
I mean, don't you
that's
think
what I'm saying. So that's
Absolutely.
amazing. Like, could you imagine just sitting there, like wizards just crossing? Like, I will not shit on a toilet as long as the Muggles keep inventing them. And like, are wizards?
Like white people had to be tricked into liking rock and roll by just sneaking it in through a white guy.
Yeah.
And then even Chuck Berry had to like play up the like a lot of famous like black musicians, like Louis Armstrong is like, he in an interview was like, oh yeah, you gotta like act nice for the white people. So it's like, I'm gonna like be a certain way, you know?
They didn't even steal the idea of toilets.
But
like they just decided to rather shit on the ground. They didn't even want to like pretend like they were the first ones to do it, like a normal, probably sane racist person would do, is like just try to steal from the people you don't like. They were just like, no, I'll live a less than good quality life.
But imagine right now, there's this really racist Karen woman, right? And she goes to like, let's say she goes to Indonesia where they have the toilets where you have to stand. I can still imagine her not using it and shitting on the floor. I mean, I can picture this happening. I'm sure
people don't use bidets,
I'm sure.
And it's baffling why they don't use it.
That toilet is it is more barbaric than the one that I recognize at home, and so I refuse to use it. Like rather go.
That happens for sure.
Like,
I could see that.
But like shitting on yourself is less barbaric. That's crazy to me.
Out in a ditch somewhere. I don't know. Like,
it's like, well, like,
I would never.
Yeah, like that's like someone preferring an outhouse over to a porcelain toilet because they're like, yeah,
a lot. But some people do. India had that problem.
Yeah, but those people are wrong.
I mean, yeah, outhouses are definitely like I would definitely like to avoid.
If someone showed up with like, I don't even care if it was an alien from a planet that I knew specifically ate humans. If they came up with a better system to poop, I would take it. You're gonna be using it. Like, I am not at any point going to let racism prevent me from having a better time getting rid of poop. Like that's not gonna happen.
Like I have no moral stand to make or anything, but boy, I do kind of fear my first encounter with a confusing toilet.
Just watch JoJo's.
Just being in a strange
season 3, where they explain all the different toilets to you as they travel. That does happen in that anime. Yes.
Yeah. Well, because they travel over the world looking for stands, Keith. Yeah, and not everyone uses the same
toilets. It's like George R. R. Martin.
It's like a little side note. It's like a little side note. Like, oh, by the way, toilets here look like this, and they just show you.
If I sit down and the toilet seat is like more squarish than normal, I'm already scared.
It's gonna be pointy.
It's of you to assume there'll be a toilet seat.
Here's a pro tip.
That. Yeah.
There's a fair number of toilets that look like a urinal, but on the floor.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the ones in Indonesia that I'm referring to.
You're supposed to crouch on those. Those are crouch toilets.
Yeah, you're just crouching and pooping.
Honestly, I've been to gross bathrooms to the point where you have to like. As a girl, it's like I have to pee everywhere, so it's like you have to hover. So it's because it's like I ain't touching that.
You got like a history of hover.
Yeah, you got to work on your like your calf and your thigh muscles to like be able to hold you up because you're not making contact. That's a part of it.
That's why women be walking around with thighs the size of the toilet.
Like I literally had to go to the bathroom on a boat. Like I had to take a shit on a boat, like a regular sport boat, on a porta potty inside of the boat. And let me tell you, when you're trying to go to the bathroom, as you hit a wave, that's it. You lose all sense of like, all right, I'm just if there's a better way to poop, I will find it and I will use it and I will do it without question.
Aliens, where are you? Fix Andrew's problem.
I would not like I've been to toilets where I looked on the side of the wall next to the toilet and it had a literal wall of buttons, and I just sat there and I was like, all right, I'm gonna press these 3 because they are the most concerning looking ones, and I'm gonna see what happens to the toilet. And then you do that and the toilet does something and you go, oh, those are definitely not for me, those are for women. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest of this now, and then you just go on with your life.
You woke up
at least you don't have a trash disposal.
You reminded me there was a week where I was afraid of toilets.
Afraid of like as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, I saw a movie where an octopus attacks like a giant, like Titanic style ship, and like there's a scene where this woman's sitting on a toilet and she's kind of like screaming, and you kind of realize that like a tentacle went through the plumbing and like went up her ass or something, and she like explodes.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
So that could have went a different direction and been like some really nice like some weird hentai,
a very different kind of movie. All of a sudden,
oof. I had the same.
This is a dangerous search.
So I read like a news article.
I've never watched this movie.
I read a news article of somebody who got bit in the balls by a snake in the toilet.
Oh no!
That was like...
If the toilet doesn't have plumbing, if it's just connected to the outside world, then, you know, animals can crawl up there.
I mean, this wasn't just a regular apartment complex. Animals can just always get in. Yeah,
really?
And if there's a way, nature will find it.
Not here. Come to Portugal. We have cakes and no snakes in the toilets.
Yet. Snakes just haven't found a need to go up your toilet drains yet. They'll find it.
Can you believe me? I think I said this elsewhere. Can you believe if I tell you I've never seen a cockroach ever?
I mean, that's normal. Don't you live in a tropical environment?
No. I mean, it's like maybe Connecticut, Boston climate, maybe? No, Boston is colder, isn't it?
Yeah, Boston's a lot colder.
Yeah, it's like maybe Connecticut.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where cockroaches are native to, though. But I remember seeing that. And now, whenever I go to the bathroom, I check before I sit down that there's no snakes there.
Just do a quick snake check.
Yeah,
you know,
you just quickly open.
Check
go,
for those wiggly worms.
Yeah, you're like, all right, nothing there, and you go
wiggly
on with your
boys.
life. I've also seen ones of like spiders crawling into the toilet, like the toilet bowl rim, and then coming out and biting people.
That's another thing that we don't have. Terrible spiders that murder you. Only the pet ones that don't murder you.
Courage the Cowardly Dog episode where Muriel's sitting in the bathtub and that big spider like pops out of the drain or the faucet.
You're talking about the Cat's Motel.
Yeah,
dude, Cat's Motel was not good. I didn't like that at all. There was a lot of stuff in that was not enjoyable. Like, especially the spider coming out of the bath faucet.
Out of the bath faucet while she's like got her eyes closed and you're just like,
because she's like doing her like thing, and you can see like this giant spider leg come out of the faucet, and this big fat spider body comes out, and you're like, no, and the Courage is like, no. Like,
yeah, what a good dog.
that dog, man. If you want to know what living with anxiety is like, watch Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I will not be doing that.
That poor dog, man. There's some good episodes of that show, though. Like, the frogs just take over their living room.
There's some like that show like ranges from like absolutely horrifying concepts to like just bizarre. Like I always cite the one where they have the robot who just wants to carve little reindeers, but he has a voice like Christopher Walken. Yeah, he just talks to Christopher Walken. He's like, I just want to carve little reindeer. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then there's like, the next episode will be like that Return the Slab Ramses episode. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, every episode's like a complete journey. I don't know where this is going. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes where you're just kind of like, what is happening? I love all the ones that are where Eustace gets like his comeuppance quickly.
He does pretty often, or at least sometimes. Usually it's at the end, but he sucks. But Muriel just loves him for no damn reason.
I don't know why. Yeah,
what a sweet lady.
I love the announcer, like the television announcer. That was such a good voice. It's like, welcome to Nowhere News.
I feel like being baffled by their relationship is one of the most realistic parts of the show. That's just my life experience with like almost every relationship I observe between people. I'm like, this works, huh? All right.
Really?
I don't get it, but okay.
Stupid dog. Make me look bad.
That's like most. I feel like that's most relationships I've seen my entire life. I'm always like kind of confused by it. Like, I guess they're happy. It's hard to tell, but
I do love how there is this the dynamic there. Sometimes is you think that Eustace like just gets away with being an awful person, but if Muriel actually cares about something, he just has to fucking wait. Like, like she will not give into that shit. Like when he's hungry, he's like, Muriel, make me some sandwich, like make me some food. And she's like, I'm doing something, and he's like, I'm hungry.
Well, it's funny because obviously he hates that dog, but he can't get rid of the dog because Muriel loves the dog. So he like has to love her because he doesn't go out and like ditch that dog by the side of the road. And then the Courage also can't let Eustace die because every time something bad happens to him, Muriel cries. So it's like they both have a mutual love for Muriel, and that's the only reason why like their whole dynamic works, because they can't get rid of each other because they make her happy. It's kind of sweet in a weird way.
Apparently the Octopus movie was called Deep Rising from 1998.
That sounds like a porno.
Yeah, there was a lot of dangerous searches going on for the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm watching the GIF, the GIF of it, and that is pretty traumatizing, I will say.
She seems to go down the toilet, which
she does.
In many ways is even more concerning.
I had the opposite effect, where as a kid I was scared of air flight because I watched I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been like a Twilight Zone episode.
Was it the monster on the wing of the plane?
No, it was this one where a plane is literally going down, like it's crashing, and the back comes off and flies away, and all these people just get sucked out. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that could happen. And then it like goes to the front of the plane, and like a piece of the front of the plane like flies out and hits these old people in the face and takes their head off. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that's a thing that could happen on planes either. And like every step of this crash is just worse and worse. And I'm just to the point where like, familiar. I was like, I don't want to ever go on a plane.
It's like I'll ease your fears by saying that it can't happen. If the plane would cut off, like people won't get sucked out.
I've been on enough planes.
Yeah, the
where
weird
like
continuous suction never made sense.
No, but my thing is,
at most the air pressure differential gets resolved in like a second.
Yeah, it's
maybe there's a burst and that's it.
The person who opens the door is gone, but everyone else is kind of just like, wow, that was stupid.
But movies do that. Like Ghost Ship makes you look at tension wires differently.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That movie opens with everybody on a dance floor and a tension wire somehow, like something snaps and the high tension wire just goes across an entire dance floor from side to side. So the entire everyone except for one small child that's too short is cut in half.
I love it.
All at the same time.
That is such a weird scene.
Yeah.
That is such a weird scene.
But like Half-Life 2, when I played it when I was young, it made me afraid of showers.
What?
I didn't like skip showers for it or anything, but like specifically the scariest.
I didn't smell bad.
For a lot of people, the scary thing is head crabs and like Raven Manor place loft.
Yeah, I think that
Raven
guy
place.
The guy that's the spooky guy. I played that.
G-Man's not scary.
I don't like him, man.
A lot of people are afraid of Ravenholm and head crabs, and head crabs are creepy. But what really fucked with me as my first experience playing Half-Life 2 was the fucking like tongue barnacles. Like the barnacles that hang down from places and that tongue sticks to you and that slowly, horrifyingly pulls you up to eat you. And like, for some reason, my go-to, maybe it's just because it's when you feel the most vulnerable as a human being every day, is the shower. So like I'd be showering in the dark, trying not to wake people up because I'd be getting up for school in the morning for high school and stuff. And I would just constantly think that this is it. This is when a barnacle gets me. And like I kept envisioning a barnacle getting to me while I'm showering in the dark in the shower just every day for like a month. Like it was this intrusive thought that wouldn't go away. I hated it.
You should have played Half-Life 1 first. You would never have believed that those things could exist in real life. Because they look so bad. Because it's all no.
Yeah, I still need to play Half-Life 1. I also still need to Let's Play all of them. The list is infinite.
Black Mesa recently.
It's
basically the same game. Oh yeah.
Baby Black Mesa. That was a joke.
That is such a great song. I go back to and listen to that every once in a while.
It's on my Spotify playlist.
I sang it on YouTube. I hate myself and just opened myself up to that.
And now you get comments every day.
Come at me, comments. I guess I need to say my favorite game still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's always hard because there's the issue of like, how do you compare these games? Like, how do you compare Rock Band 2 to Mass Effect to Portal 2 to Overwatch and so on? Like, genres are so disparate that you're like, I don't fucking know, man. So I just say a different thing every time, and that's just the whole thing.
Think about which game you would save from the end of the world. Like, what game would you want to have existed to the expense of every other one?
Well, but that could be a different answer because I'd honestly pick the game that would last me the most amount of time. In that case,
no, I'm not saying for you to play. Like, just from an historical perspective.
Well, I already answered earlier, so like I just reflexively said Rock Band 3 today, and that's where
your
I landed.
favorite game.
I've put it, like, this is a part that people don't know about me as much. Andrew does. But the audience doesn't know it as much because it's incompatible with YouTube for both copyright and like commentary reasons, because Rock Band takes too much concentration and whatnot. But like there was for a solid part of the decade preceding, or like the 5 years or so preceding me doing a let's plays, I was pretty much continuously playing Rock Band 1, 2, and 3 just all the time. Like I legitimately had, like, even though I was like going to college and working my shitty Best Buy job and whatever, like I was pretty religiously showing up to the GameStop every week to get like a 1600 Microsoft point card for $20, and I would pretty much just spend most of that on Rock Band songs. And so I had like 1,000 songs. I remember that I was keeping track of my total over time, and my 1,000th song in my library was American Music by the Violent Femmes. I have like weird little, like I used to run on trueachievements.com. I used to run the weekly Rock Band network recap, because Rock Band partnered with XNA to have user created content where if you had the license to the music, you could manually chart all of the instruments for your song and put it on yourself without harmonics having to be involved in the process at all. And those had a weekly release, and during its heyday there would be like 25 songs added to the game every single week, and it was just this deluge of content.
You had to learn all of them.
And I was manually, so I would create a recap video of like, oh, here's not a video, but a recap, like blog post of all the ones that have been added since the last post I made, and I tried to do them weekly, and I'd specifically like list out like the prices and like the band name and the song name, and then like I would try to hyperlink it to link to a video of somebody playing the song if I could find any of them on YouTube, and I would like kind of like highlight a few of them as being recommended songs out of the list to sort of, so I was acting as a curator a bit. And I did that for like years, I think. And there's like on the blog Rock Band Aid, I did a best of Rock Band Network 1.0 like post where I specifically reached out to a bunch of community members, and I did like this whole complicated poll where everybody nominated. It's like, so in some ways it was a weird, like a proto version of how my Patreon works right now, right? Everybody nominated X number of songs, and then we did ranked choice voting where you would organize the entire list from favorite to least favorite, and that would filter out all of and then we'd take the top 10 from that list, and that would be like the what made it into the final blog post. And then I tried to reach out to Harmonix for quotes about those songs and so on and so forth. Like it was just a whole thing. I just played this game fucking constantly. Cool.
Did you play all the instruments?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Singing as well.
A lot.
Yeah, he did everything. He played every role.
Yeah. I finished every campaign of every Rock Band game on expert for guitar, bass, and vocals, and I beat drums on hard. I could mostly play on hard. I couldn't usually beat any of the campaigns because there was usually something bullshit, like Run to the Hills in Rock Band 1 was just a fucking nightmare.
Drums are probably the hardest because they are the closest to real life.
Well, drums,
even though they're not.
I had the least time to put into drums because they're so noisy.
Oh.
Do you have to? I'm always conscientious about other people in the house and whatnot. It's like fucking Andrew showed me that Taiko drum set game, and I was like, but then I didn't get it because I have roommates. I have all these housemates, and I'm like, I don't want to always have to worry about when to play this game. So it's also why I don't play any. I don't currently play any rhythm games that much, in part because of all the setup and space that it all takes. But I still have I still have a collection of like 5 plastic guitars under my bed.
Yes,
and like I have I have the real drum set and the portable drum set.
The fog machine.
I want to get rid of I want to go like to the e-waste place and get rid of the fog machine. But I did get I have the fog machine and light show thing for Rock Band 3 or 2. I don't remember which one. But that to be clear, I didn't think that it was worth buying, and I didn't go all in on it. But what happened is I was working at Best Buy when Circuit City was closing, and during the final week of Circuit City, every single day they cut 10% off the price of everything in the store. And so it was like a descending auction where it's like, well, we're just liquidating because this place is gone, so we have to get rid of every single piece of stock. So we'll slowly lower the prices to see what we can get away with selling them for. So I got the fog machine for like $15 when it was supposed to be like $150. Because even when it was on low price, no one wanted it. So
the fog machine probably works with anything because you know
it was fun because
it's a fog machine.
I only used the fog machine part like twice because it just seemed like a lot. But what's fun is that it has a light show aspect, and it syncs up with they would program every song to take advantage of that device, so it would do a light show for each song, and that was neat, and had a strobe light and so on. That was just fun.
That's pretty cool.
We should have done that for your birthday. Why didn't you pull out the strobe light and the fog machine?
I don't know if it would work because we were playing on an Xbox One.
Oh.
That was like one of the issues we ran into is that I have the original drum set from I think it's the original drum set for Rock Band 1.
I happen to have that in my house as well.
I think
it's not mine, but
yeah, because I think I bought Rock Band 2 as just a disc, and Andrew I practically met Andrew buying Rock Band 3 at a midnight release, so he knows that I got the keyboard bundle. So that was a keyboard and the Rock Band 3 disc.
Andrew was buying Kill House, Murder Storm.
He was buying all the bad games that didn't age well.
I was buying. He was buying like Unleashed 2 and Fable 3.
Yeah, fucking
Fable
trash.
3. That's the one. Yeah.
You bought the worst part of 2 franchises, and I bought the best part of mine.
Yeah.
So I think I still have the Rock Band 1 drum kit, and the problem there is that it's USB. So even if you get the backwards compatibility thing for the Xbox One that lets you use instruments from the old games on the Xbox 360, that's only a wireless adapter for those So I straight up can't use my drum kit unless I go back to the 360. And the 360 is such a weird mess of like digital rights,
probably
mess, and so on.
You can probably retrofit it if you look up for kits because it's a simple MIDI thing.
I should just buy a Rock Band 4 drum set.
No, just buy they have like actual USB drum sets that are much better than the Rock Band one.
See if there's a converter because there must be kits and people who just work with that because it's a pretty expensive piece of kit.
But like Rock Band 3 is so absurdly fucking ambitious because it had Rock Band Network, so it had the community-driven content, which meant that it had thousands of songs at that point, and all these weird people getting in via that. Like Blondie got in through Rock Band Network for some reason, but then also they had real versions of every instrument because like they charted every single song in Rock Band 3 to be playable with a real guitar, which I do also have because I was like, I'm gonna learn guitar, and that didn't pan out so hard. It's a turn off. It's a turn off how much it hurts to play guitar for a long time. You have to like power through that.
Because of the calluses?
Yeah, well, not having calluses. Because I'm a dainty gamer boy, and I can't. I'm not ready for hard labor. But I do have it. It's heavy as fuck because it has all this electronics inside it that make it compatible with Rock Band 3.
Is it not the wood that's heavy?
No, he has like the digital one.
I think I've held an electric guitar before, and I found out that it was surprisingly light compared to the Rock Band 3 guitar because it has all these electronics. An electric guitar is
usually 7-8 pounds.
That thing's fucking heavy because it's got electronics.
Heavier than that? That's really heavy.
I think so. You want to pick it up?
Yeah, it's funny to me that you were like, I picked up an electric guitar after I picked up a Rock Band electric guitar, and I found out that it was light, as opposed to being a person who just knows how much an electric guitar weighs. Because I think most people do.
They're not in the wild and accessible that often. It has like a battery compartment and all this other shit, and it has like the overdrive.
This is definitely
it has like the overdrive knob and so on.
This is definitely heavier than a normal electric guitar.
Yeah,
I can tell you that for sure.
It's got computer parts in it.
Yeah.
If it's got transformers and all that, power supply and all that, it's going to be very heavy.
Probably big batteries, right?
And on top of that,
it's like
it broke.
Battery acid.
Battery.
Yeah, it's got all the crusts on it
for a while. I need to dispose of this.
That's fine. Just get hydrogen peroxide. You can scrub it all off. Clean it up.
I'll probably get rid of this guitar because it's just, if I ever want one, it's just not a great one. Partly because of the weight and so on.
Can you tell me the model so I can look up images and people in the audience as well?
It's just the Rock Band 3
it says
it's called the Pro guitar.
It says Squire Stratocaster on it.
Oh yeah,
by Fender, but it's the one for Rock Band.
It's probably a modified one, yeah. But like,
is it heavier than the normal stuff? Because that's really
it's heavy.
I can vouch. It's heavier.
But you can play Rock Band 3 with a real guitar. You can play with a real drum set or a real MIDI drum set. They had the Ion drum set, which was just a real MIDI drum set that you could hook up to Rock Band 3. And apparently, supposedly it was compatible with basically any MIDI drum set, but I never really tested that. But like, I was definitely eyeing that over the years. Like, do I want the Ion drum set? Do I want to go all in? And obviously the microphones are always real, although their judgment of your performance was always iffy. Because it's just pitch matching.
It always is.
It's always just pitch matching and not like how like technically talented you are or so on. But I got a lot of experience at pitch matching from playing too much Rock Band.
It'll train your ear for sure.
But I it's worse. I also have the other pro guitar. I have the pro guitar that isn't the real guitar, because they had an intermediate step. This is the weird one.
Oh my gosh.
Because everyone knows the 5-button Guitar Hero and Rock Band guitar, right? And then there's the pro guitar that Stephanie's holding, which is just a real guitar that is modified to have transmitted signal to Rock Band for judging you, basically.
Yeah, it's got like a D-pad on it. And
I think I know why it is. Yeah, and basically it's a guitar with a MIDI converter inside.
Yeah, and I also use that guitar for Rocksmith, which has a better interface for guitar learning than Rock Band 3 does, because it's just for that.
Which is why it didn't sell very well, unfortunately.
Yeah, but Rocksmith was neat. It's just
it was neat. It was ambitious.
It tested my commitment, and it found me wanting.
I think that's what it did for a lot of kids, and that's why I like it.
But no, there's an intermediate step of pro guitar, which is that there's a one that's it's like the fucking 5-button controller, but instead every single fret is a separate.
I think I just posted an image of it.
Yeah, I still have that under my bed, I think.
That's a scary one.
So on that one, every single fret, by which I mean every single string of every single fret, is a separate button. So there's probably 200 buttons on there, and there's
24 times 6.
And where the strum bar is, there's 6 elastic-y string replacement things, and so you would play that quote unquote like a real guitar, and that you would be doing all the correct chords and whatnot.
It helps your hand motions.
Yeah, but
come to fruition.
It definitely helps you strum, because it's just real.
Yeah, honestly, that's
you are actually strumming. But it was all buttons. It was the most extreme version of what people thought would hypothetically happen if they added more buttons over time to Guitar Hero controllers. In that it has every button, it has every single fret, and I have one of those. The main point of that is that it cost half as much as the Stratocaster. And it also was also video gaming silly.
Did this cost you as much as a real Stratocaster?
That thing might be $300. I don't remember.
Oh my god, that's so much more expensive than a Squire Bullet.
I'm trying to remember.
You can get a Squire Bullet for $120.
I don't remember the exact price, but we had it in stock at Best Buy, and I was just eyeing it every day while I was working there. And so eventually I knew I was going to cave, and I did. And so I bought it finally.
It needs to be more expensive because it's more hardware, but still, the real one is $120, $150.
I had a similar. It might have been $150. I don't remember how much it was. It might have been $200.
No, but it probably is more expensive.
My brain might be inflating it. I think the normal controllers are $40. So
I have that impression as well. Yeah,
the scale in my head could have been that maybe the Stratocaster was $200 and the Pro one was $100 or something. But what about you mean the silly one with a billion buttons? That might have been $100 or something. All I know is that there was a scale, because that was the purpose. Is there was a intermediate step they made to fulfill a particular market that wants to be able to play on Pro, but doesn't want to commit to a nightmare real guitar.
But they're also fundamentally different instruments. I think you'd have to develop different skills on all of them, really.
Yeah. Well, that was the insanity of Rock Band, is that on top of having the charts for guitar and bass and vocals and drums and keyboard, there was also the pro guitar charts that you could play, which was every real fret and so on. And 3 pro guitar. I'm just trying to bring up a thing.
So you're basically playing the tabs of the music and just playing normally.
The gameplay. Yeah, because you play the real tabs. But the way they did it is that they show each string coming at you on the frets, like they do on normal guitar gameplay, but then all of the notes coming at you are numbered, so you have to jump to the correct fret, and it's kind of a nightmare.
You need to practice, basically.
It's a lot
in real life.
And there's a certain aspect of just memorizing chords. There was a really comprehensive system where you could take every song in the entire game and take every section of every song and make it loop infinitely at any speed you wanted to, so you could practice it, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, actually.
But then, there was the alternate charts for the drums, because they added cymbals. So there was the cymbal and no cymbal version of every single drum song. Vocals had a second chart because you could play with and without harmonies, so you could play 1-player and 3-player vocals. The keyboard had the silly little Guitar Hero mode where you play with 5 notes total. So if you played that, so you could play every keyboard chart on your guitar technically, like it was a guitar chart. If you played it on the Guitar Hero style guitar, but you could also play it on your keyboard and just play it one-handed there, like just in one location. And it was kind of like easy mode version of keyboard. But then you could play Pro Keys, which was a 2-octave keyboard, and you were fucking doing the real keyboarding. That was just real basically. Keyboard, and it's a fucking nightmare. The way the chart had to deal with it is that there wasn't enough space for it, so they had to scroll left and right.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, so the keyboard would be you can find this by looking on YouTube and
I'm
type,
looking at this right now.
Yeah, you can type Rock Band 3 Pro Keys. It shows the keyboard, and it's different sections of the keyboard are a different color to tell you where you are on the keyboard on the chart. And as the actual song wanders back and forth across the actual keyboard, it shows arrows that indicate that it's going to switch tracks soon. No. And then it literally rotates to new colors. And you have to like follow that with your hands. It's a lot because they couldn't fit the entire 2-octave keyboard into the shape of the Guitar Hero, like the Guitar Hero track they've always been using. So they had to have it scroll back and forth to show you where you are as you go, and color code the keyboard so you can tell what it is, which was a fucking ride. So there's 2 keyboard charts, 2 guitar and bass charts, because they both had real ones, because you could also play real bass. There's 2 drums charts and 2 vocals charts. So that meant every song had 10 charts, and that's not counting the 4 difficulties the game had. Because it had easy, medium, hard, and expert. People for a while there, people made a living wage by charting songs for Rock Band Network. Like community members were springing up like a little cottage industry, like YouTubers basically, and just making this career in this weird little bubble market that was like for a while was going to be like a really lucrative thing they could do, and then it was going to go away because they would just sit here and do the legwork of like contacting bands, getting the rights to their music, getting a contract and whatnot, and then making these number of charts. I guess it's 10 times, so 40 charts. They had to make 40 because vocals is only 1 chart. Well, vocals is 2 charts. But the vocals doesn't have difficulties because the difficulty just automatically changes the tolerance for flaws in your singing, but the chart's not different on easy. But yeah, like it's fucking work.
On like a weird side note, there's like a niche for all these sorts of things. I was watching it's an old documentary. I just thought it'd be funny to watch about Second Life, and there was this lady who was a realtor on Second Life, and she was making an actual living wage and a decent amount of money by basically creating like pieces of furniture and building like houses that you could buy with real money in Second Life to live in. And I was like,
there's a lot of people. Oh yeah, or there was at least.
And I remember watching it, and obviously the documentary was made at it. Like, when you were supposed to watch it, it was present tense, and I remember thinking, like, what's this lady doing now? Though. What does she make? How is she making money now? Because I don't think there's
Second Life is probably flooding right now with all the people. Like,
there are a lot of image searches that I'd take that just result in finding somebody's like Second Life store.
I didn't realize this was such a big thing.
It is so weird.
I found several versions of Basalt Columns in various Second Life stores.
Jesus. But
Second Life is like a phenomenon.
It was just funny because she'd like meet people and she'd be like, oh, so did you see the ranch style house? And the person's like, yeah, I'm looking for something a little bit bigger for me and my daughter. But it's like, no one underage was like allowed to play the game. So all these adults pretending to be kids, because that was like a part of their like role playing. And so it's like you can go adopt children and things like from orphanages, and they were just adults pretending to be kids because that was just like what they wanted to do. And like, it's like, I was like, I have your beach house already, but I was looking at like the mountain style house, and like they're just like, she's wearing like a realtor outfit in the game.
Then you go and do commissions.
It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's I'm fascinated
whenever
by this.
There's any kind of like social network video game, you always get to like art commissions of people that make custom work like on a per user basis too. Like I think about like there's because one of the newer versions of Second Life and whatnot is the VR chat. And like I was watching like Ross O'Donovan on YouTube, and he commissioned this like next level, incredibly convoluted like demon costume for him to wear, where he's a demon man, and there's like and his girlfriend has one too, where she's a different demon, and they have like all these custom animations. Like if she lifts up her shirt in the back or something, she has like an eyeball sticking out of her back, and it like looks around in random directions, all twitchy like, but every now and then it'll look straight at you. Like there's all these really specific effects, and they can do like music videos and go into like they can like transform the environment around them to do like to play music and sync it up with that, and it's like.
Living my normal life is hard enough. Like I don't need like that advanced of another life. Like
being
a human being is hard for me already.
It's like a whole new expensive like fashions arms race basically.
I can't even function. Like I have to do dishes. Like that's already enough. Like I don't need more complex tasks than this.
I will never play fucking VR chat. I don't want.
I'm scared. I don't like any games.
I can't handle meeting strangers.
I liked it, but that's because it's nice being able to. I enjoy being able to just kind of play up being silly. So like my thing to do is I was always jump over to if people were in the map that had a bar, I would specifically be a bartender.
You see like, that.
You're that kid in Club Penguin that's like pretending like they run the spaghetti restaurant.
Yeah, and so I would just sit there and wait, and people would like, people would pass by, and you would just sit there and you like clean the glass, pretend like you're maintaining it, and someone will show up and be like, "Can I get something?" And then I just look at them like, "What do you want?"
Oh my god!
Can I get Andrew. A thing? And you're like, "Here you go." And I know where it all is. I've been sitting here cleaning it for the past hour. No one talking to me. And you just take the thing and you give it to them, and they're like, "Thanks." And they just
Andrew.
walk off, and you're like, "That's it. There you go."
Why? How is that being silly though? You're like being the normalest person.
Because that's the thing, is like VR chat is about like literally anime girls and Kermit the Frog hanging out in the same room talking about rap battles. And
that's not silly though. You're doing your job. Fine.
That's the thing. That's why it's silly, because there's all these people are just having this stupid time interacting in stupid ways, playing games, throwing stuff at each other, screaming, doing dumb shit, and I'm just sitting there pretending like this is a real world.
I bet there's so many people like that though, like doing what you.
I never saw any. People just run around.
Played, but yeah.
I mean, granted, it's mostly kids, so it's mostly just people like running around. They're like, "Oh my god, look at everybody else! I'm dressed up as a speed racer guy," and I'm like, "All right."
Do you want a whiskey neat?
Like, I didn't even have a costume. I was just like a default floating robot body. So like, there was just nothing about me that stood out. I just looked like a piece of the world. And that to me is funny. Like, I just love the idea that someone could come up and like.
It's kind of like a meta type joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I get you. It is funny.
But I did that with when I played Furcadia back in the day. That's what I did too. I just went to places.
I can't get over the fact that you played Furcadia.
I just showed up to places and I would sit there. And,
yes.
Like Furcadia.
Yes.
It's the one with the tigers, isn't it?
Every time.
I was not an M not.
Oh, it's really pretty.
It's kind of cute. I was gonna say, yeah, I'm kind of digging the art style.
Like, it looks like like Diablo 1 but colorful, like that kind of like.
Yeah.
Like,
how dare you?
I mean, like it looks like an isometric RPG, but it's it's like
the old Might and Magic and stuff.
Yeah, it's an RPG for furries, but at the time I didn't know what that was because I was a kid.
I mean, The Sims Online is still going to this day, like the original The Sims Online. Yeah, the version online is still going. People are just still serving.
And so I just had
whiskey meats. Yeah.
I just had a dragon character, and he would go around to bars and just sit there, and then eventually someone would say something to him, and I would just reply back normally. And that would be it. I would just...
Andrew.
I just reflexively searched to see if I could find Furcadia basalt columns.
Of course you did.
I realized I hadn't checked yet.
There probably are some.
Every game must be included.
Andrew, since you're an expert, right? So yesterday was in real life. I don't know when this gets aired. In real life, yesterday was Halloween, right? I wore like a shark. I was a hammerhead shark for Halloween, and my little cousin called me a furry, right? And I was like...
Sharks aren't mammals.
But there's scalies and there's furries. If I'm a shark,
yes,
where do I fall in that? Is there a third term for what a shark would be?
Sandpaper is.
So it depends. What
doesn't their skin feel like sandpaper?
Supposedly, yeah, actually it does. I have felt it.
But
scratchies.
Scratchies.
What about a dolphin? What would a dolphin be?
Smoothies.
Like they don't have scales, but they also don't have fur. I guess. But
yeah, they are just all blubber.
Fishies. Fishies is the term. I can link you.
Maybe they just call it
they actually call it fishies.
Yeah,
well,
fish
they're not fish,
and
they're
fishes.
Mammals.
No, the sharks are fish. Her
follow-up question of dolphins.
Oh, dolphins are mammals. That's just your first
often being mistaken for dolphin furries, which are apparently different things.
Durries.
Oh,
my cousin then came, like he had an outfit. He's a little kid, but he had an outfit on, and then he went and changed into a creeper onesie. And I said, "Well, you're a furry now too."
Oh no, you got him.
He didn't like that response, and so we had a little tiff about it. But I was like, people make. Oh, because he's been on the internet too much. Like he understands the world in ways that most adults don't even understand it.
So you can hurt him.
But he was like
he can like whistle blow hurt him in ways that people don't understand.
He loves that Keith's a YouTuber, by the way. I just he loves to he's met him, so he brags about it. Which is so cute.
I met him once. I know. Over a year ago.
He brings you up every time I see him.
That was like 4th of July of last year.
He told me to tell you to make your channel more kid friendly, and I said you can't because I'm on it sometimes.
I'm on it all the time. That's the real problem.
Hey, you channel with like 13,000 videos. You should change the age rating of all of your behaviors and content retroactively. I'm like, no, what? No, what? How? No. What does that mean? What do you expect?
I was like,
what is the outcome you're expecting?
Hire an editor to bleep out all the bad words.
13,000 videos.
I said, sorry, little cuz, but I say some bad words sometimes, so I'm sorry. It's my fault.
No, our Halloween special had "For Me, Daddy," and then it turned out to be prophetic.
Yes, actually.
Oh,
no. I said "For Me, Daddy," and then the game ended with Saturn devouring his son, which is literally
"For Me, Daddy" is specifically.
That's literally somebody being eaten by his dad.
Literally specific. That's the most literal interpretation of that.
It was kind of just like a sign from the heavens or something. I don't know what that means.
I feel like I wonder if that would be insulting or not to him.
The joke's gotten out of hand, but it keeps spreading because there was a stream where Bird revealed the fact that he's in like not one but multiple furry discords, and so then it just kept going. Like we just had to keep evolving, and now it's too far. Now too many bad jokes are just in my wheelhouse, and it's just when you're trying to think of commentary, you're like, I gotta stop. Nope, too late. Already said it again. Here we go.
But yeah, I prefer to just be very boring inside of massively multiplayer games. Like that.
That's so hilarious to me though.
I don't know. I have no I don't know. I don't find it enjoyable to be a lunatic, even if it's in an anonymous space.
You're the person that Bethesda was thinking of when they made Fallout 76. They were like, people are gonna be NPCs to each other. Little did they know that there's only one Andrew.
Yeah, I would definitely be like a traveling salesman and just run around and say hi to people like, hello. Yeah, what do you want to buy?
Fallout 76 is even worse than Fallout 4.
But
no, I didn't even bother trying with that one.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
I keep missing the free weekends. I keep meaning to like do a let's try of it just to gawk at it.
Please, like, if you do that, please let me see it because I just want to see it.
It is so
I feel
bad.
like we have to rewind for a second.
Yeah,
because I just saw in Discord that Colonel RPG posted a wikifur.com article about the fish.
Yeah, the fish furry.
And that's already a thing. But no, the thing I'm registering is that the thumbnail image is fucking Shark Tale. It's Will Smith as the fish.
Will Smith is
that's the example.
Persona. That's his persona, right?
Dude,
I guess.
I should have been him for Halloween. And then my cousin would have been completely correct.
What a horrifying image.
Because apparently he's the mascot for fish furries.
I'm actually, you guys have been talking and I have been looking at fish sonas. And I have
fish sonas.
the best picture, but of course this is a podcast. Yeah, fish sauna is the correct term.
But dolphins,
and of course, this is a podcast, but
fish, though.
Yeah.
Just imagine like a fucking Subnautica Halloween update, but where all of the fucking fish just turn into furries. They're all fishies or whatever.
I'm under the impression,
yes. Except for the whales.
The game gets more cursed somehow,
or not.
When I look at furry art, like the one that you have posted here, it is so unrecognizable as anything enjoyable to look at, that I imagine this is like what most people view anime to be like that aren't a part of anime.
That does hurt. I understand that, and it does make me sad because I do like anime.
It looks like Colonel has posted an image of a man transforming into a shark, and he's screaming while bursting out of clothes.
Is his tail his penis?
I don't.
No.
Well, how do you want
it? Then why is it bulging from the front of him?
Let's remember that we're doing a podcast right now. Let's remember, like,
that's
people
the thing.
Is
like, I'm looking at this and I'm finding so many things that I just can't. Like, how does a fish man have hair? What is the literal benefit to the species to have hair if they're always underwater? Wouldn't it always be in their face? Like, isn't that a bad idea? Why do they have a tongue? What do they need a tongue for?
So
are they licking things?
We need to invite Sonic Fox or somebody.
We have Furcadia footage going right now, because I keep bringing up visual aids for Stephanie whenever we talk about something, just to have it run.
Do you have the one where it's like, a bunch of wolves doing Thriller?
I'm just thinking, like, at least a shark with hair, I can imagine, like, okay, the hair goes there and it works how hair does, I guess. But all of these mammal furries that have hair, I'm confused how the hair works in addition to their normal fur. Like, why do they arbitrarily have human hair in addition to the fur? But then it gets even weirder, because the weirdest one I've seen is when they have facial hair. And I'm like, can they shave it? How do they shave their beard? And it's not like skin underneath, but still more fur.
If they want to have facial hair and human hair and animal hair, they can have that.
Well, yeah, the answer is they're cartoon characters and it's all Bugs Bunny shit and nothing matters. But whenever I get stuck in like the mental well of like, how do you work? How does this wolf have a goatee?
And that's the thing, is like I don't do that questioning with anime, and I think that's because I have, like, my brain is already programmed to just accept whatever comes out on the screen, because that's just anime.
Yeah, like seeing eyebrows in anime, you just get used to eyebrows and eyes being visible through hair.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of accept weird things about anime. Like, how can you lose so much blood and just not pass out from it? And they're like, it's fine. Anime kids just have hundreds of liters of it.
That I don't accept, though. That I don't accept.
But you don't have to accept it. It's anime. That's just what makes it anime.
You can't stop it.
And furry is the same way to me, where it's like, I don't have to accept that sharks have hair, but they got it. And like, but to a furry, they probably don't think about it. Dude, this kid probably didn't draw this going like, oh, is it weird that sharks have hair? No, he's just like, yeah, of course it has fucking hair. It's brown hair too. Like,
because maybe it's him, you know, like maybe that's him, and he wants it to look like him still.
Oh wait, we have a furry story.
Oh, okay. Well. Okay, we have to tell.
We need to protect their identity.
I was going to ask if
we need to protect their identity.
I was going to ask if you told this story on the last podcast or not, because I was excited to hear the response to this story.
Yeah, no, but you can tell it. I just want to. Where I draw the line, I don't really want to like we won't shame people and spotlight them.
No, I was going to say
so we'll talk about it in vague terms, but we discovered a fucking subculture on DeviantArt.
Which is the place to do that.
Because we finished watching The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Is that what it's called? And that movie is pretty fun.
So,
and that led to us just Googling shit. And then that just led to like a weird rabbit hole. Because it was like, it's specifically that an actor was dead.
Okay, wait. Yeah. So real quick. Two things. One, I'm down with the furry community. You do whatever you want. There's no shame for anything you do. I don't mind at all. I don't necessarily find all these things attractive. But I totally understand why it exists. I do have a fursona.
And I got you a gift for it last year.
I actually do have a fursona, by the way. Like a very, like, a professionally drawn and now professionally cast in plastic persona.
She has a goat character, and I got her.
I'm a goat demon.
I got her a custom print from one of those like D&D model printing websites where you can customize it like a video game character.
Oh yeah,
I sent one to her and one to Bird, where it was a bird character with a microphone. Just because that was my idea that year.
No, that honestly is one of my favorite gifts, and I really love it. Thank you. But no, I'm totally down. Furries, I totally get why it happens. I totally get it. 100%. Do whatever, do you. But we're watching, because it's Halloween, we were watching a werewolf movie. It was by the same guy that did Thunder Road, and a shout out to that movie because it's fantastic. But this movie was great, but there is an actor in it whose name I'm not remembering. Do you remember his name?
No.
In the credits, it was like you know,
like it's tribute. The movie's tributed to him.
Tribute to this guy, and it's the guy who plays Bob Cherry in fucking Jackie Brown. I love that movie, so I just think of him as that. But regardless, we were looking up whether or not he was dead, and just by a weird offhand, like just we're looking up his roles and stuff, and for some reason,
Robert Foster or Forrester.
What was it?
He said Robert Forrester.
I know his face. I know his face from somewhere.
Yes, Robert Forrester. It was dedicated to him, right? Because it was released posthumously. And while we were looking up whether or not he was dead, for some reason there was a picture that looked like a little, like kind of like a doodle of like a tribute to him. Just and we're like, oh, that's kind of cute. And so we click on it, and we find this amazing DeviantArt profile. Keith, do you want to start describing this profile?
Well.
Oh yeah, I found it.
You found it?
Yeah, we can't save. But so it just looks like our first response was just like, oh, there's some child that like knows Robert Forster.
I was like, what child would know Robert Forster?
We thought it was just a child that wrote about that. Was like made a little doodle as a tribute to the death of Robert Forster. And we find their DeviantArt. We look at their DeviantArt account and keep scrolling, and it's just like it's like an entire extended universe of Sonic characters, like OCs. Just an endless barrage of Sonic OCs.
Mostly Sonic OCs, but like a ton of OCs from absolutely anything you could possibly think of.
Just whatever crossover fits, basically. But like they all have comments of people that like love them, and there's a really specific undercurrent of like toilets. Just an endless amount of like there's toilet characters, there's toilet travel between worlds, there's like toilet warriors and so on, and like there's an entire team of toilet warrior OCs, and they all look like child's drawings. And you look at their page and you're like, oh, they're posting like maybe even more than once a day.
No,
like,
it seems like a handful a day.
It's an endless barrage of these really quick drawings that are all
Are they like Microsoft Paint?
Uncomfortably on the borderline of fetish or something, where you're like, I'm not sure what to think about toilet stuff and what's going on.
There's no diapers. There's no like scat stuff or anything like that. It is literally just about toilets and plumbing, and then there are heroes that fix toilets.
Yeah. And as if the only highlight and heighten the absurdity of what we're looking at is we're like doom scrolling through this shit. We keep going, and like every page or so, there's another tribute to a dead actor. Like you just keep scrolling, and there's all this.
That's how I found out the voice of Scooby-Doo died.
Yeah,
that's how I found out the voice of Scooby-Doo died.
We saw a sad Scooby-Doo, and it was R.I.P. the voice actor of Scooby-Doo, and we're like, Scooby-Doo's voice actor's dead, and like Chadwick Boseman and so on were all in there, and it's like you see like 20 images of like Sonic OCs with plungers. And then suddenly a somber tribute to a recently deceased actor. And that was just the whole page. And it was we couldn't stop looking at it. And then we would click on their favorites and we'd find their friends basically via that. And there'd be like an extended universe of other people who are all like posting in the toilet verse and so on. And I'm just
which one is dead?
The toilet verse, I like that name.
Yeah, well, because it totally is like this like Sonic toilet version of like the Omega verse or whatever, where it's
I don't know why there's so much art about, and he's commissioning art from other artists to draw his OCs with toilets and like coming out of toilets, like just standing next to toilets, like
it's all real gnarly art, like it's rough.
This is great stuff.
What do you mean the voice actors? Wait, sorry, I'm kind of hung up on the Scooby-Doo voice actor dying. Which voice actor?
I think it's the original.
Yeah, I don't know.
The original one died in 1996.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing it's not that one.
It could be that one.
So the original one died in 1996. He was the one from 69. The one after that was Frank Welker, who's still alive.
Fucking research.
We're gonna research.
Frank Welker is still alive. Was from 1979 to present, actually. There's Scott Ines, who was in 98 to 2008 and 2017 to present, still alive, and Neil Fanning, who I think is dead.
Oh, there's another one. We just saw one that was celebrating the anniversary of Mad Magazine. So, it was Joe Ruby, apparently.
Joe Ruby, 1933 to 2020.
We found it, but
Joe Ruby's the creator.
There we go.
We didn't look further. Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Okay, wow, I was like, wait a second. If the voice of Scooby died, I would actually be a little concerned because that's
7 years old.
But the creator dying isn't that more?
That was from, like, he was born in 1933. The dude needed to die. That was too old.
Oh my god! Shots fired.
He he barely was there when like dirt floors were gotten rid of in the United States. Come on, man.
And then promptly replaced with themed restaurant peanut floors.
My cousin can't eat at those places because he's allergic to peanuts, so he can't go into Texas roadhouses because just the air makes him have an allergic reaction.
Oh, yeah.
God. Wait, the floor is made out of peanuts?
No,
they let you crack your peanuts and throw the shells on the ground like you're a barbarian.
But we
definitely they don't clean it up.
Eventually they sweep some of it up, and then more of it fills back in.
Oh my god!
It's part of like the aesthetic is to have like a peanut floor, but I think you have to periodically clear it out because I think it'll mold.
And also,
I can tolerate
tripping.
I can tolerate the toilet universe, but the peanuts I draw a line there. This is
America's a terrifying place. Never come here. We'll get you.
We'll
get you.
Not.
Honestly, it kind of is.
Is that guy's chest? Oh, that's a tie. I thought his chest was a mouth.
That also is a thing.
But we kept.
That is a thing.
Like we finished that.
The TU.
We finished that movie and we just watched the stuff for like. We just kept like.
We scrolled for like a solid hour.
We couldn't look away for like an hour, yeah. But it did have a happy ending, which is we found this account that makes these highly detailed, beautiful pun monsters. Where every single post is another creature.
Keith obviously loved this.
It's great. It's this really adorable artwork that's really well drawn. Puns.
Okay, so they're all like animal puns, and it has a cute little animal illustrating it. But it'll be like border cauliflower, and it has like a cute dog cauliflower, and it'll be like
or like baked Alaska, and it'd be like an Alaskan husky or whatever the hell, but it was like in the style of the dessert.
Yeah.
I want cake. I have cake.
Like all these just adorable creatures.
I will eat cake.
Honestly, it was a very nice. Long collection of illustrations to the point where I was wondering how this person was still coming up with animal puns because it was like impressive. It was we went for a long time. There were several Loch Ness Monster ones. There was like 5 in a row. And I'm like, how many?
He would think of like several and just put them all on his list or something.
All the power to them.
I have to say, I haven't been on DeviantArt in a very long time.
I go there.
It looks completely different
almost.
now.
Yeah, I like abandoned.
I don't like the new Eclipse theme. I much prefer the old one.
It's got like a dark background.
I'm okay with dark backgrounds.
There are a lot of...
My DeviantArt front page does not look like... Oh my god, what have they done? I always check my
I'm so confused. I typed Bake Alaska because I wanted to find the exact
Isn't
one
that like a YouTuber?
Before. Yeah, that's one thing, is that it's a YouTuber.
Why don't you just type in
But there's also like...
border cauliflower.
More baked Alaska pun animals than I expected that aren't
or
what
Python.
I'm looking for.
Type in Python with the IE.
The more distressing thing I'm finding is that there's a lot of like Ruby pregnancy art.
Dude,
coming up for Baked Alaska, and I don't know what the connection there is.
You don't know like the things that are a thing until you hang out on DeviantArt for a while.
No, I mean like I don't know why it's coming up under Baked Alaska. That's my question.
Because
I don't know why Baked Alaska brings up.
There's a bun in the oven.
Maybe
it's from Alaska.
Because I'm like I don't know why Baked Alaska brings up a bunch of fucking Yang pregnancy art.
Maybe there's some
specifically Yang from Ruby. I don't know why.
Maybe there's some. Maybe there's like some reference we're not getting. I don't know. Look it up on Urban Dictionary.
I don't want to click on any of it.
It's a whole nother adventure.
It is a shipping fandom. That's why.
Called
So Baked Alaska is the fem slash between Yang and Neapolitan from
Oh
Ruby.
my gosh, that makes perfect
the ice
sense.
cream girl.
Yeah.
And her hair is like the ice cream. I remember her.
I get it now.
I don't remember
Why
where I
are
left
the names for these like shippings way more interesting than the show?
Well, anything is more interesting than the show.
Honestly, honestly, one of the most fun parts of the show might be the naming of the characters. Like the dumbness of making a Neapolitan lady. And that's just her shtick, is she looks like Neapolitan ice cream. It's like, I mean, that's... like you started in a fun place, but where do you take that?
Well, I mean, yeah, you have to think about someone like...
I guess if you're better at this, you can do a lot with it, actually, because that's basically the same level of absurdity as every JoJo name.
Yeah, I want some creative names. I want some creative combo names with them together.
Yeah, there is... God, there's this...
What'd you say?
I like how there's a whole wiki dedicated to shipping.
With an IE. P-I-E-thon. There we go. I found it instantly. Python with the IE.
Oh yeah. So the channel the thing we will shout out is the DeviantArt Cryptid Creations. That's just a joy. It's just a bunch of animals that are puns and they're adorable.
All right, I'm gonna look at this up.
It's just fucking,
dude,
it's just so
garden cider, and it's an apple spider.
There's a biscotti that looks like your dog, but made of biscotti, like the coffee treat.
Because it's a Scotty dog. And
Yeah,
it's a biscotti,
but it's made of biscotti.
Just stupid, adorable shit.
Oh my god, so many puns.
Yeah, a pencil sharpener, which is like a great white that sharpens your pencils.
Bare bones.
There's a lot of good stuff.
A pain goalie, which is a pangolin hockey goalie. They're just so adorable. So
Yeah,
that was the happy ending of our bizarre rabbit hole that day.
Also, I did find an OC of my name, and I was kind of like pleased that I got a shout out. So, granted, it was also like toilet related, but it's not a problem.
Toilet Stephanie.
Yes,
God.
I was a hero. So
you're a hero of toilets.
What would happen if I typed in toilet in DeviantArt? Is that a good choice?
Toilet DVR?
Just in DeviantArt.
No, in
just
DeviantArt. If I just type in...
Just
yeah,
do
don't
it.
go to Rule
Just
34.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just fucking do it, you coward.
Okay.
Bet you can do it.
Oh,
Bet.
this isn't so bad.
Also, type in Sonic and then toilet and see.
There's like a picture of a cat in toilet paper.
Cats.
Yeah.
I like the cats playing toilet paper. It's called toilet humor.
That's adorable. I like that.
Those are some scary looking fucking cats, though.
They're very sentient.
I think they're Abyssinian cats. They're like,
this is definitely a furry artist.
That got real bad really fast.
My results are very different from yours. I think this might be...
he's really good at this.
Oh no, this got really bad really fast. Okay, don't keep scrolling. Just stay at the top. Just stay at the very top of that page. Don't go down.
Oh no, there's immediately... Oh, so many...
Yeah, this doesn't get... This gets
Let's get back on track then, shall we?
I don't...
Oh yeah, we should, before we lose that Stephanie, we should ask the question that I'm pretty sure is directed at Stephanie.
Yes, do it.
Which is the next one.
I'm scared.
Well, I think it's directed at us somewhat.
Okay,
it's like
I thought it was calling me out.
I think it's just somebody asking a question after watching a bunch of videos that we were in. So in a couple of your videos, you guys kind of bashed on a couple of bands like Linkin Park, 3 Days Grace, Nickelback, etc. And I was wondering what you actually don't like about the bands. A lot of people seem to diss these bands, but no one explains why they don't like them.
I was wondering
if you could maybe put that into words. It's a Splinter 0OS. It's that guy.
Someone doesn't like Linkin Park?
I don't. I mean, okay, to each their own. Everyone's entitled to their own, musical interests. I listen to a lot of weird stuff that people aren't going to like, and I understand that. But I can honestly say that one of the biggest things for me in any song, which is why like people will criticize my music, because I listen to like Bob Dylan, right? And I always got shit because like everyone's like, oh, that music is terrible. His voice is bad. But for me, I'm a lyric person. So I don't necessarily care if the music's really simplistic. A lot of the music I listen to is basically just spoken word poetry with a very light guitar aspect to it. I can tell you for sure, there has not been any line in the history of music writing that these 3 bands have written that I will say is a good line. And that is why I don't like them.
I would also say I put Linkin Park on a much higher shelf than 3 Days Grace and Nickelback.
I will do that.
Yes, I don't. I do not think Nickelback and 3 Days Grace, Nickelback and Linkin Park are comparable.
Linkin Park is much more talented, but I'm looking at like, I want some. I mean, granted, we all have like stupid stuff we listen to, but I want like some high art nonsense. Like, I just can't listen to like that like we all get skinny because we just don't eat in a down now in a private room.
Yeah, we did the karaoke.
Now. Like, there's no line in that song that is at all takes talent to write. And I've written songs for I've written lyrics for bands, and I write poetry, and I read poetry, and I read a lot, and all that stuff is not good. I'll just tell you.
I don't know. That song really summarized that they're just in it for the money and not for the art, and they don't want to stand out. They want to maintain their bro-ness and not have to like put themselves out there as an artist, but they want to have all the benefits. Because they even have the line like, "We'll be great like Elvis without the tassels." It's like wait,
something asshole. They rhyme it with assholes, I think.
Yeah,
dude. Oh my god, you can't do that.
That's also a problem.
Oh no! And then oh my gosh, and I'm thinking like that like Animal I've Become and stuff. Like, I'm thinking of all the lines in these songs and how they're like, I feel like a 5th grader could write these. I will say Linkin Park's better. I will say, for sure.
I think what Stephanie is saying right there or right now is like, it's a little bit of a glimpse of why people have sort of a backlash against Linkin Park or in bands like that. Because, people can come off as pretentious. And what happens, like, I write songs as well. I'm an amateur musician, so I know like personally what it takes to write and what it takes to come up with lyrical words and interesting things to write about, let alone like what the words you're gonna write down. So when I hear a song that just feels rote and just feels just sort of like bleh, I can tell, and I have that I think I have the same. Like, I think what Stephanie is saying also applies to me, basically. But maybe that's also part of why, like, maybe people who know what it takes to write and know what, like,
there's just a little bit more than these bands.
They're okay.
I think if you don't write, you don't necessarily have the same perspective, and you sort of listen to a song from because Nickelback does, like, from a production standpoint, and all of these 3 bands from a production standpoint, just from a professional, standpoint, they do their stuff. They're competent.
They make their paycheck, and I get it. Yeah. And like there's
musicians.
Yeah,
on that level.
There's a lot of songs that maybe are not super that are not super articulate that like I really like. Like, I think that like Ice Ice Baby is a fun song, and that's a fun song, but it's not I wouldn't say like that's a super. I just don't think,
because there's a certain level of music that you don't need to. Like, the first time, I've been dealing with music since I was a kid, and I never had listened to Prince, and the first time I listened to Prince was when he passed away, and I listened to that song. I didn't know it was Prince, and I was like, this song is awesome, and I don't even listen to pop. It's not my style, and you could immediately tell it was a great song, just from the everything, because it's amazing, it's awesome, and I went on to listen to a bunch of his albums, and it's great stuff. It's not my style, but like, even without the, like, it's not what I'm trying to say is it's not about the name that some people anyway don't like Linkin Park or don't like Nickelback. There's something there that means it's just bland.
And I get the other side of the argument. Like, there are, like I said, I like Bob Dylan. I get a ton of shit for that. I like Simon and Garfunkel. I get a ton of nonsense for that. And I'll give a shout out to my girl Kimmy Dawson, because I've gotten so much flack because people hate her voice and they think that her music's like for little kids. But I just think
keep playing really good ones though.
I love Kimmy Dawson, but like, she's like a little folk artist, so it's very low budget music, and it's kind of maybe not something that everyone really will understand or like the Moldy Peaches are like a good example. Like, if you ever listen to the soundtrack from Juno, I guess that's a good.
There's like an emotional starting point that you want to reach.
I love emotional honesty.
It has to be like rendered.
The flow is great.
It's not enough just to be honest, but to also find the words for it.
And even if the words aren't the most like, they aren't like 5-syllable words or like the most articulate. It's just something kind of a simple sentiment. They hurt and they feel honest and good. And I don't get anything genuine from these musicians that I think are just writing to make money. No, and it honestly breaks my heart because I think music is like one of the truest mediums for like conveying expression. And I know when you can tell and feel people are trying to get that paycheck, it just hurts me. Yeah, it hurts me to hear that kind of music.
And you see that with bands that like I really like the first couple of albums from Alter Bridge, which is a relatively well-known band, and their later albums you just can't tell that they're just doing it for they need more albums. Let's do something else. And you see that in the lyrics, you see that in the songwriting, and the musical writing as well. It happens. It's not just sometimes it's not just about who it is. It's about their place in life at the moment.
I think about like Green Day. When you hear you go to Welcome to Paradise, and it's like a really specific aspect of like coming of age and moving out and becoming your own person and like trying to cut dependencies, and there's all these really specific images throughout the song that are really neat and interesting. And then you get to like 2016-ish or whatever, and there's a song they put out that just goes, "Oh love, oh love," over and over again. I'm like, I want to die. I can't even finish the song.
Compare Basket Case to like 21 Guns, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like one of those had more to say than the other one did.
Yeah, and like it's not just popular music versus not popular music too, because one of the go-to things is people like, you just reflexively hate popular music, but I think both of us kind of love My Chemical Romance.
Oh yeah,
like they're great.
I know
and
people.
They're really talented musicians, and their lyrics are great.
Their lyrics actually really, and they have good flow.
Yeah, there's just not all popular bands even are created equal.
Yeah,
and it's like I kind of have a comparison prepared because I was thinking about this, cooking it in the back of my head, because I have a song about self-loathing from 3 Days Grace, and then one from My Chemical Romance, and like it's really rough hearing the difference in lyrics and how one of them's evocative and interesting, the other one's like flat and easy. And it's like the obvious quick, like the 3 Days Grace song, and I'm not going to sing these, I'm just going to read them because the point is the lyrics is 3 Days Grace says, every time we lie awake, after every hit we take, every feeling that I get, but I haven't missed you yet, every roommate kept awake by every sigh and scream we make, all the feelings that I get, but I still don't miss you yet. Only when I stop to think about it, I hate everything about you. Why do I love you? I hate everything about you. Why do I love you? Because they always have those Rammstein choruses where they just repeat one thing over and over again.
I hate.
Then you have Sharpest of Lives by My Chemical Romance. I was like, well, it rains and it pours when you're out on your own. If I crash on the couch, can I sleep in my clothes? Because I spent the night dancing. I'm drunk, I suppose. If it looks like I'm laughing, I'm really just asking you to leave this alone.
It's such a good flow that I want to instantly sing it because I know exactly how it's supposed to go just by reading it.
You're in time for the show. You're the one that I need. I'm the one that you loathe. You can watch me corrode like a beast in repose because I love all the poison away from the boys in the band. I've really been on a bender and it shows, but... So why don't you blow me a kiss before she goes? Give me a shot to remember, and take away all the pain away from me. Your kiss and I will surrender. The sharpest lives are the deadliest to lead. A light to burn all the empires. So bright the sun is ashamed to rise and be. In love with all of the vampires. So you can leave like the sane, abandon me. And it's like, see, like that's actually good shit. There's actually stuff going on in the song. It's like 3 Days Grace is like, I want to write an angst song. What are the first words that come to mind? Print it. Just fucking print it. Fucking go for it. It's like
blue and you rhyme and hate and gate and
it's fucking
it's like it's just like I don't know, but like that's that freaking song. So like I don't know, it's got a good flow. It's got a good flow,
and like it keeps going. Like they both have rebellion songs. So like 3 Days Grace is a riot. If you feel so empty, so used up, so let down, if you feel so angry, so ripped off, so stepped on, you're not the only one, refusing to back down. You're not the only one, so get up. Let's start a riot. A riot. Let's start a riot. Let's start a riot. A riot. Let's start. That's their chorus.
I think you should start a channel where you just read songs in like a deadpan way.
MCR is like, they're gonna clean up your looks with all the lies in the books to make a citizen out of you, because they sleep with a gun and keep an eye on you, son, so they can watch all the things that you do. Because the drugs never work. They're gonna give you a smirk because they've got methods of keeping you clean. They're gonna rip up your heads, your aspirations to shreds, another cog in the murder machine. They say all teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They could care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes or strike a violent pose. Maybe they'll leave you alone, but not me. It's like this, there's just different quality levels here. And also the instrumentation's also better in My Chemical Romance, so they beat them there too, because their fucking guitarist is really talented. Like, it's so fun to listen to, like, Dead or Teenagers or so on, and like and fucking 3 Days Grace is just generic butt rock. It's so fucking flat. It's so boring. It's boring on both levels. It's worse on both levels. It's less cathartic. It's less meaningful. It ages poorly, and it's shittier instrumentation. So you can't even just zone out and enjoy it better on that level, because it's just fucking power chords. Like, the MCR is so fucking good at with their guitar and everything. And it's just kind of a bummer.
But it does require you to have. I think that's, you know, when people are younger, it's easier to fall into, like, you listen to Nickelback and you're like, oh, this is really cool, this is really fun, because you don't listen to anything else. You don't have a point of reference. And if you do, like, maybe there's a, like, the thing, like, I remember when I started listening to metal, it was Metallica for me. And I have friends who were like, oh, Megadeth is really cool, or Pantera, or whatever else, or Iron Maiden. And I was like, no, Metallica is better.
It's me again.
No, Metallica's better now. Just listen to Metallica. Yeah.
Sweating bullets.
It's easy as well to sort of create attachments to the band that you like. And I mean, I guess maybe these days it's a little bit different, because back in the day, like, you'd need to get the CDs, you need to get all the, like, it wasn't easy to listen to everything like it is right now. Like, right now you just go to YouTube and it's all there. Back in the day, it was different.
It's all art, and there's like 50 background context reasons for why everyone has
the right to like whatever they like, and you know.
Yeah, like, here's the reveal, is that there's a plot twist here. I have a dark backstory with 3 Days Grace in My Chemical Romance.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know about this?
Yeah, I do. Of course I do.
Because when we were much younger, we got a bunch of we get these Christmas presents and whatnot, because childhood and whatnot.
Because childhood, you get Christmas presents sometimes.
Childhood and what?
It wasn't coronavirus.
And my brother and I got CDs mixed in with all the other stuff too. But I got 3 Days Grace's 1X, the one that has the little white, like,
paper doll
people, and one of them crossed out, which is the one that has both the song, but I Hate Everything's not on it, but Riot is and Pain is, and so on.
Pain without love, pain, I can't get enough. Like,
that's the level the lyrics are on. It's Rammstein, but in English.
Yeah.
But
that's a good description.
Germans that that's really Rammstein their roots as better.
Well. But to be clear with the Rammstein fans, I don't know that much Rammstein. I just know a couple songs, and I just get frustrated by the fact that I took 1 year of German and could already fully translate them, because the songs have 10 words total in them, and they repeat over and over again, and I don't like that.
Very much Rammstein is also very much a reaction to other broader trends in the metal scene. It's complicated to analyze why they are the way they are.
But I got 1X, and my brother got the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and he was not happy, because there was this whole stigma in school at those days about emos and how it's cringe to be an emo. Not cringe because we didn't have cringe as a word yet. I mean, it was a word, but not that way. It wasn't popular to use in that way.
It was just more so,
but functionally, it was cringe to be an emo, and that's what everyone was shitting on all the time. So he was like mad. He got an emo album for Christmas. So being a nice brother, I traded with him. And boy, did I trade up unknowingly.
Dude, fate happened that day.
So I spent years listening to 3 Days Grace just fucking thundering through the walls as it's played loudly on a stereo in the neighboring room while I'm listening to My Chemical Romance with my headphones on and stuff like that.
You know, it's funny because I was aware that
biases exist, but also I'm right.
Biases exist, and I was aware of them when I went to Barnes & Noble and bought that album anyway, and just didn't tell my friends I bought that album and listened to it, because I definitely wasn't part of the emo crowd despite my frequenting of Hot Topic.
You gotta hide it. You gotta hide it in shame, even though that band was better than basically all the bands that were supposed to be better back then.
I'm trying to remember like what my friend was trying to get me to listen to. It was something. See, that's the thing, is I can't remember it now, because it wasn't something that stuck around. And I was like, "Hey, what about this?" And they were like, "That's kind of dark 70s." I like never had the same music taste as my friends. Yeah,
By the time you're talking about, I was listening to things like Nine Inch Nails and
See,
like even worse than that, Film Troll and stuff.
Yeah, no, I was listening.
I was finding out all about the
Jane's Addiction at that time. I was doing a whole 90s thing. I did like Alice in Chains a lot, and like I still do. But
there's certain genres of music that
he dropped the bomb.
There's certain genres that you're literally afraid that they might be Nazis. These people, I need to do some background research on this. And that's like seriously, there's some bands that are.
That's some of the hate too, like the hate that goes at some of these bands, like Nickelback and so on. There's two stages. One, sheer popularity breeds contempt, and it's often deserved, but not always completely deserved. Sometimes people disproportionately hate things just because they're popular, like Undertale. And it's not really fair to the thing that they're mad at.
Or Genshin Impact, Keith.
Fuck you. But there's also things people get mad at because they're just awful and they're sick of hearing that. And it's just lowest common denominator stuff. And that's why it's popular. And that's frustrating. Like Transformers or Nickelback. But there's the additional layer of why some people hate some of these bands is that they didn't necessarily earn it the first way, but instead they aged. And it's a certain aspect of like, if you look back at your teenage music, a lot of it's about this. A lot of it got to be your favorite music at that age via a lot of emotional pandering. And sometimes it's because the stuff is genuinely cathartic and well written and interesting. And sometimes it's just because it's lazy pandering to teenage angst and so on. And you look back at that and you're ashamed of yourself. And so that makes you lash out at those bands and shit on them all the more. And so when you're like, oh, like in my case, like I used to listen to Nickelback. I had a Nickelback poster, and it's like boy, do not like looking back at that. It does not make me happy. And there's also when you age, music hits differently. Obviously, I think we discussed this. We discussed this on a previous episode of this, but yeah, it's like you go back to listen to Chocolate Rain or Killing in the Name of, and you're like, oh fuck. Well, as a teenager, I was just like, fuck you, I would do what you tell me. But then nowadays you're like, oh my god, it's a song about the history of hiring police from KKK.
Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Yeah. See, I always listened to lyrics, even as a kid, and so I was always like, my mom's like, don't sing that one in school, and I was like, all right, mom, like,
because when I'm like 13 or whatever, it's like the same level. Like critical acclaim by Avenged Sevenfold is just like Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine, even though those are two mutually exclusive ideas, and those two bands would kill each other if they saw each other in person. Like it's those ideas do not mix, but the shitty, shallow teenage catharsis that those lyrics provide do mix. So as a teenager, you mix and match, and it's like you're not really consuming it with depth necessarily, or you are. I don't know your life, but a lot of people don't, especially as teenagers. Because they don't even have context for like half the stuff anyway yet, because their schools are lying to them about history, which isn't great either. But then you grow up and you're like, oh my god, Rage Against the Machine hits different. These people are fucking rad, and fucking Avenged Sevenfold are bootlickers. They're horrible garbage people, and all their lyrics are about bad ideas, and they're trying to act like they're
and trend chasers as well from a musical perspective.
They're trying to act like they're all metal and punk and cool, but they're actually just like lazily succumbing to propaganda and shitting on liberals and anyone else that wants to actually do anything about the bad things in the world. And it's like, oh no, these long rants in the middle of critical acclaim, these aren't cathartic at all. These are dark. These are too real, because this is just what you hear every day. Like this was it was the Adam Sandler of metal, where it's just like the most lazy fucking base level easy pandering, and when you hear it as an adult, it's just depressing.
Yeah, no, Avenged Sevenfold has always been hot
trash. I was kind of bummed out that they used all the Fear and Loathing imagery in their whole Backcountry music video.
Was Backcountry not in that movie? I haven't seen it.
Well, yeah. What? You asking if Backcountry the song was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
I don't really know when these things came out.
Oh my gosh, there's like a huge time difference.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
I knew about the connection, so I assumed that it might have been in the movie.
No, they basically they reenact parts of the movie in their music video, but like oh damn it, what the fuck? I can't remember that. Oh no, I'm a failure. I can't remember the author's name right now. I'm thinking of Ralph Steadman, who's the illustrator, but that's not all I'm trying to say, because I've read other books by this author. Who's the author of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
They're like 7 years apart.
Oh, you're talking about...
Who am I talking about? Oh my gosh, I'm a failure.
His attorney?
I can't help.
Benicio del Toro.
No.
No, what's his name?
Hunter S.
Hunter S. Thompson. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh! Don't kill me, internet. But no,
the man who got shot through a cannon.
He would not appreciate. What? He has my favorite suicide note of all time, by the way.
Yeah.
But he would not. He would not appreciate. I don't think he would like them using
suicide note coloring book too.
Dude,
I have a serial killer coloring book.
She has a serial killer coloring book.
What a problem.
She researches serial killers like extensively, and then when she feels like she's done, she then colors in that page of the coloring book.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a tone shift.
That's really
there's some whiplash there.
It's peaceful.
I spend every day watching at least 5 videos on serial killers, but like I don't.
How are there that many?
People kill a lot.
What is that rabbit hole?
There are a lot of serial killers. I don't know if you know this, but some of them are just not worth putting on the news because they're just not great people. Like Jeffrey Dahmer.
You mean the other ones are?
Yes, those ones are like publicly more tame to talk about than the ones that are like, yeah, he just like did things that are clearly not okay for 10 years, and then we just kind of figured it out finally. And you're like, great.
I saw the other day.
You can find Andrew and Stephanie's new serial killer podcast if you just go on iTunes and search "Killing Them Softly."
To color a killer.
To color a killer.
That's kind of
cool. Just call a podcast like Serial Killer Coloring Book.
Yeah, and you just watch me color it as I talk, and I dub over it, and it's just me talking about what they did.
I was gonna say I like the idea of there's like
channel.
Yeah,
you're learning about a serial killer, and as it's happening, in the background, Stephanie's just drawing. Or
it's like Draw My Life, but it's you coloring in a serial killer page while explaining all of their misdeeds.
I'm gonna choose red for the blood because that seems like that makes sense. But he had beautiful blue eyes, so I'm gonna color them blue.
Those blue eyes were enough to lure in 17 victims.
Yeah, he was typically handsome, and thus the female victims really trusted him right off the bat, which is a mistake.
Jesus Christ!
But there's a lot. There's definitely a lot in that rabbit hole, and it's still happening today, which is the more concerning part. Yeah, like there's still just serial killers right now happening, and there's just no time. No one's got time to talk about it. There's so much other stuff in the world.
They're too busy building a wall.
On like a very brief side note, because I can get into like movies. I saw this movie called Maniac that stars Elijah Wood. I almost said Shia LaBeouf. I meant to say Elijah Wood.
That's the shipping name.
Elijah is distinctly not buff.
It's funny because in this movie he's a serial killer, which is not like Elijah Wood. Look, you just don't think of him as being a serial killer, but it's all shot.
How many serial killers has he played?
It's all
in Sin City.
But this one's all shot in the first person, which is why I wanted point it out, because in the movie you just hear his thoughts, and he stalks women and he kills them, and it's all shot in the first person. And he also has this obsession with mannequins, and so he like uses the body parts of his victims and like attaches them to the mannequins and talks to them in his house, but it's all shot from the first person. So you only see Elijah Wood when he's like in the bathroom washing his hands, or he like sees the reflection of himself strangling a girl or something. But it is a fascinating movie, and I really recommend it. It's called Maniac. If you want like a dark romp, like there you go.
A dark romp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I got distracted because I was bringing up an image of Elijah Wood, the serial killer, with the Charlie Brown shirt from Sin City with all of his arms and legs cut off.
I watched.
That's what happened in that movie. That was a fucking film.
I watched that movie in theaters with my grandfather, and that was the last time he ever took me to the movies.
Oh no.
He went because I really wanted to go, and no one else in my family wanted to go, and my grandfather was like, well, I'll go with you then. And I was like, all right, thanks. And then when we ended it, he was like, I'll never go to the movies with you again. And I was like, okay, that's fair. He does not like graphic gore kind of stuff. And so I was
because that one had like the yellow man in it, right?
Yeah, that had a lot of
the weird, not distressing, bloated dude.
Yeah, he just was like, I don't want to come back with you to the movies.
Not after what you picked this time.
Yeah, he's like, I I don't think our movie tastes align very much.
I was pleased because I took my younger brother, who right now he's 16, but it was like maybe like a year ago. I took him to go see Midsummer, which is kind of a weird, like, it's kind of, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but I remember the movie ended, and that's like a pretty bizarre and gory and disturbing movie. And the movie ended, I remember thinking to myself, okay, either my brother's going to think I'm really weird for picking out this movie, or he's going to think it was cool. And we both looked at each other, and I waited for him to talk first, and he was like, I really liked that. And I was like, good, okay, little brother, we can go see The Lighthouse now. Like,
you can survive.
Yes, like you have made me very proud today.
You know, people just have really distinct tastes, and you have these moments where because we both have like certain people where if they don't like something, we get really intrigued by that movie all of a sudden because it must be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like you have like the exact opposite reaction, like, oh, they have shit taste and they hated it. They thought it was boring. Number one priority all of a sudden. I can't wait.
I really like Doro Hedoro.
Yeah, Doro Hedoro's great. Or like we were about to watch The Hunt and somebody was just like, that movie's boring. It was stupid. And it's like, and you're like, no, I want to watch even more. And it was great.
And it was correct, yes.
The Hunt was so good. That came up in the movie recommend. Oh,
Kiki.
No, did you hear my dog?
Yeah, Kiki's also here, but
I
no.
did.
She yawned.
I just had the register of like, oh fuck, we forgot to do your movie recommendations. We'll have to do them next time.
Yeah, do them next time because I don't want to keep you guys here forever.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened when we did ours?
Did you guys talk about it?
That we had...
it took 4 hours, so I cut into 2 episodes. We kept getting sidetracked.
We had to split into two.
Next time Stephanie's on the podcast, we'll do her 5 movies finally.
I'll just yell them out and then not elaborate on why. I'll just say, watch this.
That's not allowed. You can't do that. That's the rules.
So it's probably about time to close out for today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We've been keeping Colonel up for a while.
3 questions. That was
progress. We did it.
Oof. Yeah. Don't forget to send your questions to...
that question says, happy birthday, Stephanie.
Oh, no. It's like, okay, well...
It's from September. We're bad people. Not that many people ask questions. If you want to send a question in, send it to dialogchoicespodcast@gmail.com, spelled the same way as the podcast title. There's multiple ways to spell the word dialogue. Enjoy.
Jake Morrow, I'll answer your question next time. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes.
We'll get back to that one.
I have the same birthday as you because I remember you put that in the comments once. Because I remember who this is.
It's always nice when people have the same birthday. I sometimes find out that people have the same birthday as me, and I'm like, it's great. Especially if I like them. If I don't like them,
I will never not bring up the fact that I have the same birthday as, first of all, Meatloaf and Joseph Joestar.
No,
just saying.
I mixed up the Joes.
No, Joseph he's the sexy grandpa in part 3, and he's handsome boy in part 2.
Oh my god. Grandpa. Yeah. Have you seen him? He's
I'm gonna type
pretty buff.
JoJo's sexy grandpa.
I think the instinct is that we think, like, what are the chances of them having the same birthday as me?
Is that him?
Yeah. It came first result, by the way. Joseph Joestar came up for when you type in sexy grandpa.
Second
JoJo's
result is a confusing picture.
That's Uncle Grandpa.
Oh, is that
from Cartoon Network?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is Buenos Dias.
I'm sorry, Colonel, we interrupted
just
you.
Posted a picture of Meatloaf.
No, I was saying that what are the chances is like what we think when we find out that somebody has the same birthday as we do. But that's, the chances are probably 100% because there's always famous people having the birthday we do. So the chances are more when we find those people in their birthday rather than,
There are more people than there are days of the year.
Well, and people have also have lived
famous
and died.
People.
So famous people have been cataloged.
People.
Yeah. Actually, Wikipedia probably has a list for every day.
Yeah, have you looked up yours before?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but
it's kind of fun.
I'll have to do that.
I only know Joseph Joestar because he mentions it specifically in the show, which made me wig out when I saw it for the first time. So I was like, oh my god.
I got John Cena.
Oh,
get dunked on, y'all.
Wow, what an invisible birthday.
Damn it! That's why no one came to my birthday parties.
Aww.
I got George
Lopez.
I don't know these people.
John Oliver? Did you have John Oliver?
I've got Cal Penn.
Yeah.
From Harold and Kumar.
Famous birthdays I wish I had known. Okay, tell me. Kevin Bacon. Solid.
No. Not necessarily.
Gigi Hadid. She's famous.
Let's see.
I just like Meatloaf.
So Kevin Bacon, John Rockefeller.
Kevin Bacon's pretty good.
I don't know who any of these other people are. Total Biscuit.
John Oliver.
Yeah,
that's what I just said.
I didn't read. I scrolled right past him apparently,
and
it did not register.
Jaden Smith.
You have Jaden Smith.
That means you love Toblerones.
No.
Can you see if your eyes aren't even real?
I need to watch that anime already because people are real split. People really love and hate that anime.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch that one too for the exact same reason.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like always, send in questions to dialogchoicespodcast@gmail.com.
Do it.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Don't do that.
Subscribe.
Ring the bell.
You can find us on your various podcast audio feeds. If you don't find us by searching Dialog Choices, you might find us by searching for Nerds, FOUR Nerds, because changing RSS feeds or whatever the fuck is confusing and hard. And I'm still using the same SoundCloud thing. I've been using the same SoundCloud for like 6 consecutive different podcasts now. So rebranding it is confusing, but it has a paid subscription and people subscribe to it. So I don't want to like make a new one every time the podcast changes title. So there it is. See you guys next time.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.